T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What is up, everybody? Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. How's it going? Welcome to this little experiment that I threw together. My partner, Greinberg, and I were talking. He was talking about going to his wife's office Christmas party. I was like, well, if you're a content creator and there's no like physical office to go to, how do you do an office Christmas party? And I was like, all right, let's do the Undroppables Staff Office Christmas Party. So that's what we're doing tonight. It just so happens that tomorrow is Christmas Eve, the following day is Christmas, and tonight is Monday Night Football. Well, this is a fantasy-based website. The Undroppables is where you get all of the best fantasy knowledge that you can glean. And tonight happens to be the last game of the Week 16 slate. There's playoffs involved. People are in here and they're watching this game because they have Josh Jacobs and they're trying to eke out a win. They have Jordan Love and they're trying to eke out a win. They're playing against Romeo Doubs and they're hoping for a bad game. They started Condre Miller because they're in an emergency situation. So what better way to celebrate the holiday season than to mix cocktails online, watch your favorite content creators get hammered, and watch people react in real time as they win or lose their fantasy playoffs. We got the comments getting going already. Abominable Fro, let's go. Just now,
let's go
to Dallas.
Drive safe.
Right. What's up? You have a studio link, bruh. Get in the chat or get in the studio. A1 is here. Aaron Bigler is here. Woo! Christmas party. Let's go. And we got buy and sell you playoffs. Lori Bigler. Woo! What's up, Lori? Good to see Aaron. And I know the Bigler name just because of the Fantasy Cares live streams. But,
yeah.
Yeah.
I got a buddy. He needs, I think he said 40 points from Jaden Reed. So good luck to my boy Parnett. I helped him about 2 years ago just rebuild this team to basically juggernaut, traded for Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. And now he's got this awesome team. But, last couple of weeks, they've just been okay, not difference makers. So now he's got to rely on some of the other guys to help him get there. Yeah. So we'll see if they can pull it off. Travis Hunter Truther.
There we go. Hey, Trav is in the building.
Hey. What's up, Trav?
T-Seal, what's
going on, boys? What's going on, boys?
T-Seal and I. There we got an Undroppables league.
I don't want to talk about it.
Well, no, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. We're in an Undroppables league called Undisputed, and he and I each took over an orphan this year. We had a little distro draft to start the season, and we both made the playoffs. So look at us.
And then he fails to admit that he proceeded to knock me out with a 7-7 team after I proceeded to go 10-4. And I even chirped him. I said, Biggs, this team has no business beating me. And they did. And that is the heartbreak of this thing that we call fantasy football. Boys, I only got like a minute to hop on. I'm about to go do Santa photos with the family here, and I might get my head cut off if I am busted. But just wanted to say I love you to everybody. If there's anybody watching, stay tuned for all of the Undroppables content that's coming. There's a lot of really good stuff. These boys are doing big things on all sorts of different levels. And so big appreciation to you guys for holding down the fort on the Christmas party stream, as well as for all of our other stuff. How are we doing tonight, boys? My only sweat is that I need less than 4 points out of Tucker Kraft, and I'm going against our fearless editor Derek in that one, and so basically I'm screwed, and that's my last remaining team in the playoffs. So
you know what Derek does?
Good luck, man.
All he does is win no matter what.
No, Derek fucks.
Yeah, 100%.
Derek Fuchs. That's what it was. Derek Fuchs.
No. No.
Hey, appreciate you, Trav, man. You the man.
Yeah.
Crushing
Hey,
it.
brother.
All
Love
of this-
working with you guys. This has been so amazing.
All of this graphic design, courtesy of Travis. The
Yes.
thumbnail with the great Packers on it and the Christmas theme, Travis Seal. Our graphics department working overtime this holiday season, late in the playoff run. I got a little debut to show everybody.
Ooh.
I don't know if you know this, Travis, but I'm going down south for the East West, the Senior Bowl, and the Super Bowl, and I'm going to be
Sick.
dropping Undroppables content the whole way. I'm talking barbecue in Dallas. I'm talking burgers in Mobile. I'm talking New Orleans, food, drinks, whatever. So
Yeah.
we're soft relaunching the Chef's Corner, and Duke's put together some incredible graphics packages that I will be showing off a little bit later. But you get to your family stuff, Trav. We love you too. Glad you're back, and you're doing great work.
Thank you, boys. I just wanted to pop
All right,
in and
man.
say thank you. Appreciate everybody. Happy holidays. Peace.
I'm about to plug your new
Yeah.
show. Merry Christmas, buddy. Happy Boxing Day.
Yeah.
Hey, don't plug too much. We got teasers happening on the socials. Don't
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? Don't spill the beans too hard. But love
Well-
everybody, and like I said, stay tuned.
I'm going to tease.
Okay, tease.
gonna tease.
away.
Oh.
You little tease. Okay. Peace, guys.
All right,
Now-
see ya.
Some of you guys may not know, but this dude right here, Dynasty F Key, is my partner over on the Player Profiler News channel. We have a Tuesday morning Dynasty show called Dynasty Stock Market. There's another show. We're not involved. Travis Seal's involved. And Travis Seal is launching a new Dynasty show on the Undroppables. So make sure that you're logged in,
Love it.
subscribed, all that stuff. Watch for the teaser trailers to come out and stuff, because it's going to be sharp, you guys. Now, Dynasty F Key and I have been killing it all year long with our calls, the kind of content that we bring. I'm a humble guy, and I'm just going to say this new Undroppables Dynasty show is it's going to be a game changer. It's going to be a leap.
I'm looking forward to it, man. And I just saw a nasty Josh Jacobs stiff arm. Look like they're at the goal line right now. But dude, it's crazy. Yeah, this is the first time we've done anything together on the Undroppable side since
Yes.
obviously working on the other crew. But yeah, some of the guys from Cowboys and Cover, they'll be jumping in here in a little bit. I just got a little heads up, like maybe 15 minutes or so.
Yeah.
I got stopped.
We should have
but yeah,
people
man.
popping in and out all night. Right now, though, the Green Bay Packers are on the goal line. If you got a prop on Josh Jacobs for an anytime touchdown, this might be the time right now. He goes in motion. Oh, and it's a little flip play that just gets buried. Trying to get creative. You know what I say at the goal line? Don't get cute. Just play football.
So do we? Yeah, exactly. They run it again, right? Like that's one of those Patrick Mahomes to Travis Kelce little shuffles, right?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Dante.
All right. Do we
actually
take a
caught
shot
the
if they
ball.
score here? Shot if they score?
Sure, we can
touchdown.
do that. Now, I was gonna.
Wicks.
You're ahead, maybe. Aaron in the chat says, if someone doesn't spike the eggnog, is it really a party? Making your eggnog with just booze anyway. And it's back to Dontavian. He held on to the ball. Dontavian Wicks
Yeah.
dropped the ball.
Drop Tavian Wicks.
In these Undroppables live streams, especially like draft night, I like to do something and I like to mix up a little something. So I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to reach over here into my little bag of tricks. And if you can see this tray, oh, look at that.
Oh,
Here, I got a shaker. I got an ice chest. I got a nice little holiday glass with snowflakes on it.
nice.
Let's get
Dude,
some.
my dad, I just saw him on the
shaker?
way up to Kansas, and he literally just got me that kit, dude.
Nice.
I made my drink for the first time. What is that called? Like a gibbler?
A jigger?
That's what it's called. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a Ricky, but now I know. Now I know things.
All right. So
I know things.
I got the Christmas Grandpa's cough syrup. We're going with 3 ounces of wild turkey
Dang.
bourbon.
Yeah, I'm on that Elijah Craig right now, 94 proof.
Elijah Craig is really good. But this is, $23 a bottle. It's got the proof to like carry into a cocktail. I love wild turkey. It's basically like my cocktail go-to. All right. This is the killer. This is Melinda's brand Ghost Pepper Hot Honey. And orange blossom water and absinthe in a nice little syrup that I like to mix up. It has a little bit of licorice flavor. It tastes kind of like a spicy Good and Plenty. So I'm going to do an ounce of that.
All right, Aaron, if you're listening, hook me up. Bring mine down here.
I got the sweet vermouth.
Ooh.
I'm doing an ounce of that.
This guy's not messing around. I
don't.
But do you have any ice?
Yeah, I got a little ice chest next to me. I already put it in the thing.
There we go.
I even got my in my ice chest. I got my chilled martini glass for when I make my martini later on. All right, and then I got that, and then the bitters.
Appreciate it. The perks of people actually watching.
4 dashes of bitters. Thanks, man. And this, you guys, is how you make a Manhattan.
This is how I make my drink, bro. My dad
there you go. You know what?
This is what I'm sipping on right now.
That jigger you got in that gift box. Guess where this came from?
Same thing.
You can see it says Elijah Craig on the bottom.
Yeah, it's the same one.
All right.
All right. My dad, he got me, hooked me up pretty good.
That's nice. All right.
Yeah. How's that taste, man? Or you're not even done yet. This, don't rush the process.
I'm still putting the garnish together.
I want to see this thing.
All right.
No updates really in the game. They're about to kick off.
We're
kicking it to the
after.
Saints.
It's Condre Miller season. All right, so we got the bourbon, we got the absinthe hot honey syrup, we got the sweet vermouth, and the Angostura bitters.
I love that sound.
What's in your Merry Christmas mug?
Oh, it's
water,
whiskey. No.
Oh.
I just showed you what's in there. This was unwrapped. I just put it back in there because I'm not at my home base, so I'm not trying to lose everything. But I put a little dent in it for drinking by myself.
All right, there's
a
that.
little bit so far.
And I got a nice little grapefruit twist that I'm gonna spritz into there.
Grapefruit, I like that move.
And the cherry.
Oh, Bombadil froze jealous. He said he's stuck in the car 3.5 hours, and we got these fancy drinks. Mine just has this old-fashioned maple syrup.
Yep, I've had it. That's where I got my jigger.
And I sliced up some oranges, and probably too thick. Didn't get it thin enough, but whatever. Hey, cheers, man.
Cheers. Merry Christmas. This is a hot honey old fashioned.
I've loved doing shows with you this year, man. It's been a great 2024. So excited for the next season, man.
It's been nice being your partner. And we got bigger things to come too. Where'd that lid go?
Shout out to everybody, man.
Shout out to Undroppables. Shout out to Player Profiler, Fantasy Football Advice Network. Everybody in the business doing big things. We got some more chat. We got David Smith headed to his computer to join us. Let's go. Buy and sell you craft of the 20-yard catch. David Smith wants the Cowboys to go somewhere. I do too. We got Tales from the Geek had a devastating loss this week. Thanks, Josh Allen. A lot of people are
why didn't you
give
us another 40 burger, Josh Allen? What are you doing?
I mean, yeah. In one of my leagues down the stretch, I made a big trade. Sold my future to get Josh Allen. Got knocked out in the first week of the playoffs, and then the next week was his 60-point. So and you watch along the way, and you're like, oh well, if I had won this week, then I would have won the next week, and then the following week happens, and you're like, oh well, I would have lost anyway. So that's kind of how it goes. Some people run into the postseason with two different playoff teams that both in Superflex have Josh Allen and Jaden Daniels, and they win the championship in one and lose the championship in the other.
Yeah.
It's just the way it
Crazy.
goes, you guys.
Yeah.
So we're not in the business of what's going to happen. We're in the business of what's likely to happen. All right. Abominable Fro is stuck in the car. I think, did you already say that?
Yeah, we got that one.
And we're out here making
and we'll keep it positive the whole show. But I was shocked that the Raiders went from potentially being at the 1 pick to the 6 pick. I mean, after the last night's game, a lot of stuff shook up in the draft, man. Like my Cowboys dropped from, I think, 11 to 15. It's interesting. A lot of the teams that you might think are tanking, they're still battling out there. I love the fight in the Raiders, man. Well, I got a lot of respect for that team.
You gotta go with what Antonio Pierce said in the post-game press conference, and he said they're out there to win games. And I've been saying that. You get a lot of talk. It's not week 7, like week 18 hasn't happened yet. We don't know what the draft order actually is. All we have is speculation. And at a certain point on Saturday, the Raiders were in position to maybe keep pace with the Giants for the top 2 picks. But we see it every year where changes happen as the last 3 weeks of the season pan out. And to be frank with you, I'm kind of glad that we aren't in the top 3 or 4 spots because I don't want any of these quarterbacks.
Yeah, and you've already expounded on it over and over, so you don't have to go deep in that rabbit hole. But I love the talent after some of those QBs, man. So y'all are in a good spot either way.
If anybody wants my take on what the Raiders are going to do in the draft, go to my instant reaction video from yesterday because I talk about it extensively. And
yeah, every win, go check out Big's instant reactions.
every win, because usually I can't do a show when we've lost. All right, the New Orleans Saints are a haggard franchise, and they couldn't do anything with the ball, so they're about to give it back. So how did you do over this last weekend so far? Are you
all right? So it's a great question because you're doing content and you think you're gonna win more leagues, but it looks like I'm in just about 4 Super Bowls now. I was probably in 22 leagues, so it kind of sucks. But because you're not gonna win all 4 of those Super Bowls, right? But I feel like a lot of these teams are super strong, so I'm not too worried about them. Like in the next year, I have a lot of teams that are just crazy young. I went like super rookie heavy, with the Neighbors and the BTJs and the Bowers, all that. So I'm fine for the future. But in my home league, it looks like as long as Jordan Love doesn't crush me out of nowhere, and who else do they got? They got Jordan Love and Kendre Miller, who's only got half a point right now. So as long as they don't go off on me, I should get there in my home league, which is awesome because I did a full rebuild, but just like a 1-year full rebuild, and I'm already back into the Super Bowl after being there a couple seasons ago. So that's awesome. A startup that I started this year, we call it the Most Flex Stream startup. I made the Super Bowl there. It's like, 12, 13 roster spots, but basically you only have to start 1 quarterback, 1 tight end, 1 wide receiver, 1 running back, and the rest is just all flexes. And there is 1 super flex, so it's technically super flex. But point is you're starting. You have to start corpses out there to some degree. You know what I mean? So anybody with the pulse, you're trying to get out there, and that team made it. I have a lot of old guys like Keenan Allen somehow is just taking me to the championship. Devontae Adams, I'm like riding him. I can't believe it. Pretty crazy. Formidable, he's in that Dynasty League with me, my home league. So, yep, I think I'll be seeing Dynasty Football Key in that home league championship. Yeah, that's right. All right, man. Good luck.
Take him down.
So, yeah.
Take him down. Neither of you know who I'm talking to, but take him down.
Yeah, so and then one redraft, one little ESPN redraft. It looks like I'm gonna back-to-back years in the Super Bowl. So the only league I'm commissioner of where the prize, there's no second place prize, there's no other prize except for first place, where it's a pair of Jordans of your choice.
Nice.
Shoes. So I won last year. which happened to be my second time winning. So I might be able to win a third time here. But I'm going against somebody who I went up against in the Super Bowl last year and beat him, and he also had won the previous season. So it's tough competition. We'll see what happens, but it feels good to get in the Super Bowl no matter what. You know what I'm saying?
Now there's an unreleased episode of the Undroppables that's out there where Johnny Tuma and Chalk and me and somebody else.
Awesome.
I'm sorry, I'm not remembering. We did a shoe draft.
Oh, okay.
And so we drafted kicks, and I have a personal favorite.
Was it like bracket style, like elimination style, or is it just
no? It was a draft.
Yeah. Okay.
Snake draft, or I think every round we randomized.
All right, so let me hear about that. And I wish Dave was on here because I mean, Abominable Fro, he's a sneakerhead, and my other co-host Joe, he is too. But let me hear about this. I want to know what's the 101. I gotta hear it.
My 101, my favorite shoe of all time is the Air Jordan 2 Low.
Hey,
period.
Right now, I'm wearing some Air Jordan 2s right now.
I'm wearing my slippers, but I got the green and black, or the red and green Gucci Jordan 2s last year, and those are my Christmas shoes. But yeah, the Jordan 2 is my favorite shoe of all time. I like the lows. I'm not a fan of the highs, but I love the lows. I think they're the coolest looking shoe that's ever been made, and love the fact that they don't have the swoosh on them. They're like
exactly like very subtle. Like I've worn these to like meetings and sometimes, like I have like the blue ones, the black ones. They're very low key. Like people don't even know they're Jordans. Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, that's an underrated choice too.
It's a sleeper.
Yeah, for my championship last year, I got the Jordan 1 Pinnacle high tops. So it's like kind of like it's not snakeskin, more like an ostrich skin, but then it has 24 karat gold eyelets and shoelace tips.
Nice.
Yeah. But it's hard to go wrong with the Jordan 1s. But I will say, whenever I go to like Colorado or somewhere cold, they don't keep me warm for shit.
Now this year, Nike dropped a Nike 2, an Air Jordan 2/3. So it's the Jordan 2 upper with the Jordan 3 sole. So it's got the clear window, it's got the air window, just a little different take on the Air Jordan 2. I haven't gotten them yet. I went with a couple other kinds of shoes. They make one called a Kill Shot, which I just got a pair of.
Oh god, yeah, Dave's got some Kill Shots
because they have the gum soles that I like.
Yeah, those are sick.
I've been a low key sneakerhead my entire life. I was an early adopter of the East Bay catalog, and
that brings me back. Yeah.
East Bay was the shit. Every month I just sit there and just like go through and circle all of the shoes that I wanted and everything. And Dave would love that Air Jordan 2 pick. 3s and 5s are probably my favorite, just purely on comfort. So I have really, really wide feet, and I tend to have to wear like Asics or some kind of 4E running shoe, whatever. But the last couple pairs of Jordans I bought, the 32s and the 2s, they've been ample. And the 2 is actually like the widest Jordan that I've ever had. Normally, like my foot starts to like kind of bow out on the side just because it's so wide, and they don't make those shoes for the size of my feet. But the Jordan 2s they're phenomenal. There was no break-in time. They slip awesome. Right in. It was good.
So they just gave you the 101. How do you like?
No. I'm saying my 101.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That episode was so long ago, and it never got edited and dropped. So it wound up
the
getting
hidden gem.
Nice. StreamYard automatically deleted it, and then in trying to clean up my computer, I took out the draft board and stuff. I took like the Jordan 2s, Stan Smiths. I was going with like really underrated. I could have had all the 4 picks in the 4th round, and all of my shoes would have been there. But they were like taking Yeezys and Dunks and stuff like that. Like everything that they were doing was, I think KD Joker was the most like sneaker, that purple and green one, KD3, I think. That was like the most like hip and with it, like sneakerhead shoe that I took. Everything else was just like low key, just stuff that I like. But yeah, it was a fun time, and we should reboot it. A lot of people don't know this, but the Undroppables is more than just a fantasy football brand. We have the Uncovered series. So if you're a fan of a favorite team, there's likely a content creator, and if there's not, you could be it. I do the Raiders. DFK does the Cowboys, along with a whole crew of other people. I got a partner too. Mike Lindbergh does the Chiefs. We got Johnny Tuma doing the Broncos. We got Schultze, my producer, doing Jaguars. We got the Minnesota Vikings. We're trying to fill all 32 teams by the beginning of next year. We're getting pretty close. I think we're right around 18 to 20.
Yeah, Titans was the most recent one, right?
Yep, that's
you
that's
just
Chev.
did a stream with him. You just did a stream with Chev, right? Yeah.
No. I did it with Schultze for the Jags.
The other day I could have sworn you were on with Chev, not for the Titans, but just for something else. But yeah,
he's my partner on Player Profiler today on Friday.
Right. Yeah.
So if you have a favorite team and it's not represented, you totally just shoot me a DM at BigBonedFFB and on Twitter, and we'll get you in. It's an hour a week, do a live stream, maybe go head to head with somebody in season. Just and you're basically like the boss of your content creation for your favorite team. You can stay as plugged in as you want. It's really a good thing, and it's bringing bodies to the Undroppables. On top of that, let me tell you guys about this. Our honorable Chef Jay Beasy is a chef, and we talked a lot coming into this last season about launching a part of the Undroppables called the Chef's Corner, because everybody likes food content, booze content, and all that stuff. So because of this little trip that I'm making, and because of the fact that I'm a cook and Mike Greinberg is literally a culinary instructor and Jay Beasy is a chef, and we've got food content on lock. We even have friend of the program, Bo McBrayer. Bo makes his own sprinkles seasonings that you need to go cop.
Wow.
But so I'm relaunching Chef's Corner.
Oh, I like
What's
it.
up, big dogs?
Hey.
What's up?
What's up,
Big D?
Check. Mic check.
You're good. So this is the booze, the booze side of it. Chef's Corner.
Special White Claw. Special edition
cheers,
White
man.
Claw.
Let's
Then
go.
we got the food side with the little cloche with the Undroppables
Shotgun.
logo. It's so sick. Dukes on the graphics is amazing.
Love that.
All right.
So real quick, let me get Dave's shoe 101 real quick.
Sure. What do you got?
So your number one J or any shoe, but
Well, number one
Dave,
J.
yeah.
Sorry, hands down, it's got to be the Superman 4s, the Dornbecker 4s.
Hey.
There's no question that that's my favorite J of all time. Dornbecker has a special place in my heart. First of all, I want to say, obviously, happy holidays to everyone. Hope you're in good health. That's the most important thing this time of year.
Yes,
So
sir.
that's where I'm at. But if we're talking about shoe game, you got to be Dornbecker's. The Nike facility is near the Oregon Hospital for children. They have a line called the Dornbecker line, which is the name of the hospital. They put out maybe 10 shoes a year, and sometimes those shoes they're created by the children. So the children make their perfect shoe or whatever, and Nike tries to recreate it and release it. Well, these Superman 4s are dope as all get out.
Fuck.
And yeah. I wish I could get my hands on them. I went to a sneaker con in Houston. I picked them up. I touched them. I got intimate. They were like a size 6, so they were for a small person. But I'm looking for a 10.5. That's not $4,000. So if anyone's got a key on those, Right here next to me, I have a few of my favorite birthday pairs. Just gonna hop out.
Hey,
Uh-oh.
We got the Supreme Fives. Supreme Fives, okay? If you don't have
yeah,
Supreme
five.
Five,
Yeah,
I
fives
feel
are
bad
some of
for
my
you, son.
favorite.
So, Dave, look at this Undroppables logo down on the bottom of this screen on this overlay.
Mhm.
You notice anything familiar about that?
There's some
font?
give me a clue here.
He said font.
Yeah, the font.
The font is red, and no, I'm not gonna. I have had a few drinks tonight.
Fully inspired by Supreme. In fact,
Oh,
our founder Chalk used to have a sneaker shop in LA.
that's sick.
Dang, that's sick.
Chalk
looks like he would have a sneaker shop. That's badass.
It's really hard to be into Supreme because they were like the kind of the kings of the limited drop, which
Right.
makes them so desirable, right? But if you have a crew of homies like me and Alex, me and Dynasty F Key here, you can convince all your bros to throw down 30, 40, 50 bucks each, and then you put some on top, and you can get a nice crispy pair of some Supreme Jordans if you want to, all right? But if you're going to go in on a solo purchase, you better have a good job with a fat 401k, all right? You don't want to just go out there and throw your stupid money around like a dumbass. But I'm a big shoe game guy. Obviously, me and Dynasty have that in common. But it's nice to hear that there's some of that love on this thread already.
Absolutely.
And love to hear from Abominable Fro too. That me and him were actually just at a Mexican food place where the only reason to go to this place is to get ridiculously over liquored margaritas, the purple margarita in particular. My brother's in town. We had a good time.
Yeah, how you feeling? You loose?
Dude, do I look loose? Do I feel loose? I'm absolutely.
Are you
loose.
in Dallas?
No, I'm in Austin.
You're in Austin. Okay. I want to show you a picture real quick. I'm gonna try and get it onto the screen as best I can.
Hey.
And I want you to tell me what you see.
Oh,
so
okay.
Giants.
That's a weird ass hat, dude. Is that a San Francisco San Diego hat? What is that?
Nope. It's the San Francisco Giants gold
Supreme
2010 championship, because at the next year they come out with the gold hat for the World Series champion. You know, so that hat is sitting on my knee. Do you know where that is?
On your knee?
No. Do you know where I'm taking
game?
the picture?
Rangers. Wait, no. Is that what stadium is that?
That's the Rangers
I'm not...
old stadium where the Giants won the World Series in 2010.
Okay. I've only been there once, and it was a sweet game where Nelson Cruz walked off. I can't even remember who the opponent was. I was so blasted, but it was a 10th or 11th inning walk off from Nelson Cruz. Oh man, those are some trying times. You know what was hot in 2010?
2010 was great.
You know what was hot right around then? Four Locos.
I work in a liquor store. You know what's hot now? Four Locos.
Okay,
wow. Different recipe.
Wow.
Different
but
recipe.
I've probably been to more Rangers game at that stadium than any other sports game, because that used to be like my mom was really big into baseball, and like we would just go to a ton of those games. I know my wife knows, but there's like a time when I was a kid, and like I'm walking out the tunnel with some funnel cake, about to tear into it, and then just like a big gust of wind just hits. And just funnel cake just flies over everybody, and I just duck her off right back into the tunnel, like, oh, wasn't me.
Yeah, we were there in August of 2019. So I had to go to a Rangers game and see my boy Hunter Pence, and
nice.
And that was actually
still on audio. I'll be right back.
That was the last year of that stadium too. So that, like they tore that one down and built a new one. But I had to get there, and I had to bring my Giants World Series commemorative hat to take a picture at the place where the Giants won that World Series, celebrating in Arlington.
It's tough. It's tough to go back and win it again, man. It's like the Rangers were just in the World Series and won it, and then they're gone. And I remember the Giants. I forgot the pitcher, but I remember like they were hot at the time, and I was like, "Dang, these guys are gonna be on a little dynasty here." I know they got pretty close. Again, I can't remember.
They won 3 and 5 years.
Yeah.
So they won 2010, 2012.
Well, that's about as good as it gets, man.
You can't really ask for more than that. So we have enough World Series capital to get me through Raiders seasons, Kings seasons, Cal seasons. I got enough. I had 3 rings in 5 years, so I'm good to go. The guys in Boston, they're the ones who like have the glut of riches at this point.
Hey,
and
there we go.
There it is. That was the Giants hat that I had, was the gold one.
I knew I had to find it somewhere. I was like, I yelled at my, "Where's my gold hat?"
Now, today, I think it was today. Recently, the Texas Rangers signed my favorite dude in all of baseball,
Jock
Peterson. I love that dude to the ends of the earth. He is. I just posted on Blue Sky right before we came on here about it. He is an absolute legend. He runs a foundation for his handicapped brother. He involves his brother in all of his things. He's just a good-hearted dude. He's a certified good dude, and I love him. I don't care if he played for the Diamondbacks. I'm glad that he's playing on the Rangers now, because I will follow that dude forever. Now, trivia question. Jock Peterson was wide receiver 1 on his high school football team. Who was wide receiver 2?
Oh, wow. That's a deep. Can I ask a clue? Does the guy still play wide receiver?
Still plays wide receiver in the NFL.
In the NFL, okay.
Mentioned on this show earlier. In fact.
Interesting. I certainly don't know, but I'm willing to guess. What state is Jock from?
California. Palo Alto High School.
It doesn't narrow it down at all for me, but I'm interested to know. I'm curious.
I can't even remember what we said 5 minutes ago.
I know. I was trying to think. Who do we talk about? I mean, I've only been here for a few minutes. Go ahead.
DFK, right at the beginning when he was talking about fantasy rosters and stuff, mentioned his name.
Nope, I pass.
You talk about fantasy rosters. You mentioned his name. You can't remember?
Nope.
Ready?
Go ahead.
Blame it.
Devontae Adams.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Man, where are you from, Travis? Or is you Travis Hunter? I don't know.
No, I'm a Travis Hunter truther because that's who I want the Raiders to draft. I'm from Northern California. I'm from right outside of Sacramento.
Okay.
Just north of the Slay area.
Did you get schooled by this guy?
Wow.
Did your high school get beat by Devontae Adams and Jock?
No, that's a Bay Area school, East Bay or South Bay, and I live 70 miles away from there, so we never. Plus, I'm about 20 years older than all those guys too. So
there you go. You could have said whatever you wanted, but you said it. I get it.
No, I totally torched them.
Yeah, I had hands on him. Got in front of him.
No, my claim to fame, my claim to fame in high school football was I tackled Ray Caruth.
Okay, well that's a big claim to fame.
Tackled who?
Ray Caruth.
Oh, nice.
It's not Rod Carew.
No,
Ray Caruth.
But I got mad hits like I was.
Okay.
Yeah. So Ray Caruth played for
Touchdown.
Valley High School. I played against them. I was a middle linebacker on defense and a fullback on offense. And he came across the middle. He caught a little inbreaker, and I rocked the shit out of him. And some part of me, and we got Josh Jacobs with a touchdown. So there's your prop.
That just eliminated me in a round 2. It was not one of the ones that I mentioned though. I already had a feeling it wasn't going to go my way. I was coming into the night basically only ahead like 6 points, and Jacobs is crushing me right now.
Nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
No, I like to think that my hit on him led to his CTE that caused him to go off the deep end and try and pay somebody to murder his pregnant girlfriend. It was a pretty wild story. He was a Carolina Panthers wide receiver, and his girlfriend got pregnant, and he didn't want that to happen, so he hired somebody to kill her. She died. They saved the baby, and then he ran away. They found him in the trunk of a car in a Perkins parking lot in Tennessee, and it's my fault.
You did it, son. Early 90s era?
92.
92. Wow.
Well, in the 91 season.
I don't have a killer in our past, or maybe I do. I could hide that, but my high school, Bowie High School, South Austin, produced a few college collegiate players and at least one Pro Bowl NFL player, a safety. Now, he had a twin brother. So the twin brothers, they were, I guess you call them fraternal twins, right? They were our running back and quarterback and like corner and safety in high school. They were our entire team. One of them was Marcus Griffin, did not have a NFL career. Got invited to the Vikings training camp, but the other one had a decent career. Michael Griffin. Michael Griffin ended up being a safety for the Titans. Both those guys were on the UT national championship team. So we had a lot of love for those cats. They were our entire team. I don't think we ever produced anybody comparable, but yeah, that was cool. They were our seniors while I was a freshman. So I'd see them walking around. I was a dumb nerd in the band and everything, and I'd try to like hop in and be cool with everybody. But I did have a dance. I had an ex-girlfriend that ended up being in the marching band for UT that went to the Rose Bowl against Michigan. Vince Young won, and then the national title that Vince Young won.
Damn,
and I was
awesome.
Pretty jealous. I mean, she,
yeah,
we were together at the time. Ditched her by the wayside when I got cool in college.
Of course, yeah. So I got a Titans link too. So growing up, I had a friend. His mother was my 8th grade English teacher. She was my drama coach. I write screenplays. I'm in a sketch troupe. I
sweet.
Try to produce my own film. And the reason that I have that bug is because of this woman. The reason that I have like a place in my heart for the developmentally disabled, her stepson, who our Little League park is named after, he had Down syndrome, and I kind of helped protect him throughout like our childhoods and everything. He played Little League on a team coached by my dad that my brother played on. One of the greatest things I've ever seen. He hits the ball, he gets a second, he's out, and they tried to tell him to get off the field. He sat down and said he wasn't going anywhere. My dad goes out there and he goes, let him score and don't count it. And they were like, oh. And on that day, I learned tolerance. Yeah. Anyway, so his older brother was his older stepbrother was my friend. His older brother was 3 years ahead of me and played football. Showed me Nightmare on Elm Street for the first time when I was 12 years old. That was a pretty cool night. Anyway, dude that played football, he was a senior when I was a freshman, went on to Stanford, drafted by the Vikings, played for the Vikings, the Chargers. He was on the Titans Super Bowl team. And he lives in the town that I'm in now. I play softball with his brother, or against his brother. His son took followed in his footsteps. Defensive lineman going to Stanford, got drafted by the Falcons, decided to make a position change, and now he's a fullback / tight end for the San Diego Chargers, the Los Angeles Chargers. His name is Tucker Fisk. His dad was Jason Fisk, and he was a D lineman in the NFL for a long, long time. Had a good career. So that's my Titans connection.
Wow.
Nice.
Cheers. Yeah, interesting connection. I want to highlight it again. I'm sorry, Alex, but there are a lot of people out there doing great work right now, especially this time of year. Maybe thankless jobs. There are people in hospitals right now. My dad's in the hospital. He's doing fine. He's recovering from a surgery, and I want to shout out like surgeons, nurses, everybody who's doing stuff to help our family and our family members get well for the holidays. If anybody like that is listening, thank you very much. I can't wait. My dad it wasn't projected this way, but fortunately, he's actually going to probably be home for Christmas, which is
awesome, man. Yeah.
We're going to take over the duties and cook the prime rib for him this year. Not that I don't hold a grudge. But he was great at doing that. So me and my brother are excited to do something like that. And that's the kind of thing the holidays are all about. I love the sports. I love everything like that. But, seeing the community, that's part of our community, right? So that's in Kyle, which is just south of Austin, and seeing people in the community care for their community is huge. So I love hearing stories like that, and there are people like that right now. Maybe they're listening, maybe they're not. Who knows? But those people deserve a lot of
Well,
props.
Dave,
We're all here to do the thing, and I just appreciate that.
hey, on our show, we do shot of the week, and in the other room, my wife's fam, father-in-law, he works as a PA in the hospital. So does, sister-in-law used to. And Dave, shot of the week. That's what we do on our show. Shot of the week.
Shot of the
Goes
week.
to the healthcare crew and your dad because he's back. Let's go.
Absolutely, he's back, brother.
Hey, let's go.
So yeah,
Hey,
that's what the holidays are all
news.
about, man. It's just kind of appreciating everyone, and the whole community comes together to do things like this. And we get to do our sports show and enjoy sports, and they're probably out there working long shifts, keeping people alive and well. So thank you for that. Appreciate that.
Hell yeah. I have
Love
a
it.
grandmother who was a nurse. My aunt, my cousins, my aunt is a nurse. Her daughter, my cousin, is a nurse. Her other daughter is a prison guard. So that's fun. She's like 5'2" and doesn't take shit from anybody.
Wow.
Works in a prison. It's crazy.
Nice.
And then my ex-wife was a nurse. My ex-sister-in-law was a nurse. I worked in healthcare for 15 years, but on the mental health side of it. I was a psychiatric counselor and substance abuse counselor. Shout out all the substance abuse counselors out there.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
sir.
Everyone's, I mean,
Shot of the
everybody
week.
contributing to our community. Like, you're a member of the community and you're contributing to make people better. I really appreciate that. People have things affect them personally and it makes them more, maybe that's what I am right now, but I just want to put it out there because you feel so helpless. You don't know, I can't do any of that work, to do it. So,
Yeah.
we appreciate the people who are doing it every day.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Healthcare is definitely what's really sad is it took until COVID for people to start shouting out like nursing staffs and stuff like that. It's really an unsung profession. And like, I didn't do like to say that my vocation was life-saving is to kind of like give it a lot of cushion. I wasn't like running codes. I wasn't like creating medical procedures that like were literally life-saving. I was like helping people, that were suicidal and things like that. But I got to work in an ER with people who literally were saving lives on a daily basis. And it's completely unsung. It's like totally underappreciated. Kind of like the teachers in our society, like healthcare workers and teachers are like the two unsung professions. You can't do that if you hate, like if you don't have the inclination in your heart to make other people's lives better. And we don't give them enough credit. We don't give them enough praise. We don't give them enough finance in this society. Like we don't reward them enough for the fact that they are like protecting humanity. And, without them, fantasy football would suck because everybody would be dead.
Yeah, we're messing around with this goofy stuff, but hey, my mother-in-law's a teacher. Like I said, father-in-law working as a PA. So shout out to both of them, man. And
Shout out.
hey,
100%.
enjoy the holidays. And hopefully some folks are getting a break where they can get it. And wishing everybody Happy New Year, man.
Hell
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, you don't appreciate those people until maybe they aren't around, or maybe you have to really lean on them. So it is nice to just shout them out. But man, I'm glad to be here to talk some football with you guys. Also a little bit of baseball. I can't wait to. Man, I've been sporting Rangers stuff. The Cowboys won on this 5-game losing streak, and you're just like, oh man. And then the storylines are so tangled and weird with Jerry and McCarthy and the local media and everything like that. And you're just like, man, where's the good news coming from? And there's a lot of great storylines in the NFL, so you can't be too sour about it. But man, is the NFL better when the Cowboys are good or bad?
Depends on the media narrative. Oh snap!
I think it's either way, man. Like I think when there's too many bad teams in general, it just sucks. Like the Cowboys are always in the spot where they've been good. So it's just they don't have to be winning the title. Like the NFL's been good for the last 20 years without them winning the title.
Jerry
so
Jones.
They're like relevant, but like how do we really need them to win a title? Like, yeah, I want to win a title as a Cowboys fan, but the NFL, I don't know if they need the Cowboys.
It's pretty wild that they've prospered, and also they haven't been, I guess you would say, innovators, but they have been cultivators of talent and pretty good at drafting players. But like, man, everything else, the back end of financing players and financing your team has been horrible. The vision of the team and for the coaches has been horrible. But you look at what McCarthy has done, and you can't help but sympathize for a guy who's really trying to keep his job and clearly looks like he wants to be there. He has inspired players and inspired the team, except for Micah Parsons, maybe. And I mean, he's going to get re-signed, isn't he?
I think so, man. He's working with what he's got. And before the season started, the team's like, this is what you got to work with. We're all in, which means that they believe they gave him everything he needed to be successful. But really, we know we could have used more. And at the end of the day, he's still made it work. This season, we still have a chance to have a winning record. The last, 2 seasons, 12-5. So overall, it's better than what we got from the last coaches. Like for years, McCarthy's been way better than record-wise.
What do you think, Biggs? Like, have we overachieved the past 4 weeks?
So,
or what do you think?
Here's the thing about the Cowboys from an outside the fan base.
Yeah, let me know.
Last night, the Cowboys were on Sunday Night Football. That's a primetime event. The Cowboys have had an outsized share of primetime promotion over the last 20, 30 years. They're called America's team. Anything that happens with the Cowboys becomes media narrative, whether or not the Cowboys are good. So what that does is it creates a saturation of Cowboys content that the rest of the fan bases don't appreciate. So while they are, quote, America's team, they are not beloved. If you remember back about 10 years, how people felt about the Patriots, that's generally how people feel about the Cowboys. They're just tired of hearing all of the Cowboys drama. They're tired of hearing all of the Cowboys this and that, whether or not they're good or bad. There were people that the fact that Tony Romo face planted in the playoffs over and over again, there were millions of people that celebrated that. The fact that they got knocked out in the first round last year, millions of people celebrated that. Now, I personally don't hate the team. I hate the fact that they're constantly shoved in my face. I can't go I can go a season without seeing the Raiders on Thursday Night Football or Sunday Night Football. I cannot go a season without seeing the Cowboys 3 or 4 times. And that's not necessarily something that's interesting to me, right? I love watching CeeDee Lamb. I love watching Micah Parsons. I root for Dak Prescott. He's actually the cousin of a friend of mine. I love the Rico Dowdle story, but that's no different than the other 31 teams.
Exactly.
There are people that I root for and games that I enjoy, but I want to see those teams also. So I get more Cowboys stuff than I want. Now, to add to that, and to be perfectly frank, and expose some of the potential bias in my attitude, I live in 49ers country. So I am also surrounded by people who hate the Cowboys on a visceral level, the way that I hate the Chiefs and the Broncos. So I get it. I get the both sides of that. But that's kind of how I see it, is that the Cowboys are an outsized media presence, and a lot of people don't appreciate it, even though there are definitely things to root for with the team. Now, unfortunately for you guys, you are right now in an NFC East environment where You have the Jaden Daniels story to compete with. You have the New York Giants to beat upon. And then you have Saquon going to the Eagles that doesn't help anybody in the division. So, like, it kind of keeps you in mid status, but the media still pumps everything that Jerry Jones does, and he wants it that way. He's so connected to Roger Goodell and the NFL in general that, you know, like, they can't help it. It's the NFL is the Cowboys and the Chiefs, and it doesn't matter if either of them win or not. Like, that's who it is. And we all have to kind of like deal with that. And we love football despite all that.
Yeah, I'm just a football guy in general. That, like, for me, what always got me into the sport was just seeing basically the freakish stuff that I can't do. Like, 'cause I always used to only love to play the game, right? But then, like, when you see spectacular stuff, that's what kind of drew me to it. So, like, I love any awesome player on any team. Like, I like Myles Garrett. I like any type of awesome player on any team. You know, like, it doesn't even matter. But, like, the Cowboys, it's on purpose what they're doing too. The Jerry Jones waiting to sign a contract, that's on purpose. That's just for the media hype. So that's why it gets annoying. You know what I'm saying? It's just
that's
like,
a great example, dude. The contract thing is a perfect example of
put me in, coach. Yeah.
Just
I don't fly coach. That's for peasants.
And, like, you know, Jerry, like, does he know? Okay, so there's two sides of this coin. And this is a type of argument that happens in a few other spaces too, maybe politics, things like that, where you look at a guy and you say, this guy here's a guy, evil guy. Here's a guy, good guy. And you're like, both sides of this argument concede equal points to each other, where they're like, so is he evil or is he not? Is he a great owner and impact on the league, or is he not a great owner impact on the league? Or does he draft well, or does he just hire personnel well that draft for him? Like, is he not turning in the Manziel card for Johnny Manziel, or is he the guy turning in the Zach Martin card for that draft pick? And it's like, that's all Jerry wants, is both sides of this coin talking about everything, you know. And it's so, like, is it genius or is it stupid? Like, and so that it's a circus. So you have to kind of cut it off at the nub and be like, all of that is Jerry, you know, Fugazi. Like, you don't even know what's going on for real. And then you look and say, well, is Will McClay the guy? And does he have a great track record? And you're like, well, the guy can't stop drafting tight ends in the second round that don't go anywhere. He doesn't understand how to acquire players outside of the organization, save for one or two great acquisitions. Like, I wanted them to keep Stephon Gilmore so bad because of the leadership on that side. And you see Micah Parsons coming out and being not a great leader. Maybe he hasn't blossomed to a leader. Maybe he won't be a leader. You know what? Everyone says DeMarcus Ware was a leader. I challenge you to go look at what DeMarcus Ware said to become a leader, because he was a leader by example, which is different. You know, you have leaders by example, like Larry Allen, you know, or guys like that. And then you have leaders by vocality, like Michael Irvin. You know, you have a hard, fast leader that gets everyone on the side. So it's hard to say where this team is and where it goes when Jerry Jones is at the helm, because there's so many points that are counteracted immediately by an action he does. So he chooses to undercut somebody, or he chooses to prop somebody up, namely Kellen Moore, Jason Garrett, you know, Wade Phillips, guys like that who were prophesized and deified almost, and then then he turns it on them and cuts them down, and then it shows, oh, the leader all along was Jerry Jones, you know. So it's difficult.
Absolute picture perfect narcissistic behavior. Now, I will say three things. Number one, I cannot believe that Jerry Jones did not draft Braylon Allen as the RB1 of the class. Number two, I cannot wait for
I totally believe it, by the way. So
I cannot wait for next year when Jerry Jones resurrects Treylon Burks' career. And number three,
Arkansas.
Number three, Jerry Jones is forever Razorbacks. Woo, pig suey.
Yeah.
But I mean, I challenge you. How many Razorbacks have they ever had?
Nah,
Any Razorbacks?
somebody's got to go get Burks though, but I can see that, man. And last thing I'll say is, so we don't make it a Cowboy show. Like, is it
we're just
insane?
talking football. Nobody's watching.
I know. Is it insane to think that we would probably win another title if we just had just run an organization in a normal way? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think about this every time I'm taking a deuce in the morning, Alex. Every time I'm thinking about, like, what if it wasn't Jerry Jones? Is a thought I have when I sit down on the throne in the morning, and I think, okay, so obviously you think about what would it look like for Jerry Jones to concede power. That's an impossibility. So you have to think about it a different way. What if he never was in the picture? What if in the year 2004 or so, whenever Parcells came in, 2003, I think, when Parcells came in, what if Jerry Jones had conceded at that time and relinquished power? What would the team look like from 2003 to now? Would you have 10 years of Jason Garrett? No. But would you have as many Hall of Famers as you had drafted? I don't know. Or all pros maybe is a better metric. I don't know. Because there are things Jerry does very. We don't need to sit here and talk so much.
All right, real quick. Drafted Burks in Dynasty his rookie year. I don't ever want to see or hear his name again. Treylon Burks. I did the same thing. I drafted him in the first round. That's good process. We watched him against Alabama. We watched him with Arkansas. It was good process. He's had some of the worst luck in the history of fantasy. Thank you.
Yeah, I do a lot of pontificating, so I pontificate. That's if you watch our cast. I do.
Oh, yeah.
I go into David's corner and I pontificate quite a bit.
Quick plug.
That.
Next episode, we're gonna do a breakdown of pros and cons of Ashton Genty, and we're gonna review. I believe we're gonna do a review of James Pierce Jr. Film breakdown, and we might sneak in Luther Burden III.
Yeah,
I love that it's
and a mock draft.
Those are great prospects.
I love it's week 16 and it's draft season already.
Week 17. Get it right.
We're still in week 16. The game's still going on.
No, I mean not when our episode dropped. That was a preview. Come on now.
To your point, when you were talking earlier, I had this thought. How would the Cowboys be different if Mark Cuban had bought them at some point? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like that.
A likable owner.
Title.
Yeah, but just somebody that like an owner who's out there, whose face like represents the franchise that you can kind of root for. I don't think there's a lot of people rooting for Jerry Jones.
Cuban's already taken a step back, actually, from some of the stuff.
I can talk in depth about what I mean, you think about this because you look at a guy like Ron Wolf, who built mega teams at the Packers and the Seahawks, and you think about like what is different about a power broker GM like that, or a real get at GM. So a real get at GM, and again, I'm going to go on a soapbox here, but a real get will not only be able to understand it and understand a consensus from the draft scouts, but also have the ability to form his own opinion by watching film. Ron Wolf notoriously watched film on guys and would be able to make a decision on signing somebody within hours and not days. And so the difference between having a GM that can understand how to make a move now, today, this afternoon, versus Jerry, where Jerry has to consolidate the consensus and find a consensus amongst this guy, and guess what? Half those guys are dumb idiots, right? And half the people alive are dumb. So like, if you have a room full of 10 people telling you what to do, half of them are telling you the wrong thing to do. So like, I have that opinion, and so when you look at a guy like Ron Wolf, who I'll just pick on here because I just have I heard a lot about his history. Ron Wolf would sit down and look at, let's just say, I don't know, a guy like some fringe guy. Let's just say a fringe guy, whoever, like
Russell Wilson.
I wanted to come up with a really good one. Eric Sims or Ernie Sims from the Cowboys. He came in and played safety for a year. You look at a
Not
guy like
Eric
Ernie
Stem
Sims.
from Momentum Baseball.
Ernie Sims. He came and he played for a year and a half for us at safety, and he actually played very, very well. And you look like, okay, did Jerry watch film on Ernie Sims? No. And when that's the answer, I have trouble having a lot of faith in what he says, because you know what he says is coming from whoever's behind him blowing it up his ass. So that's tough.
Here's a great example to what you're talking about. So this last season, the Washington Commanders made a GM change and they hired Adam Peters. As soon as I heard that, I was all in on Washington Commanders players, because I understand what Adam Peters does as a GM, and I understand how he gets the best out of the talent that he accrues. And I knew that if his target from the get-go was Jaden Daniels was going to be made into a quality NFL player. I don't want, just like you guys like kind of feel a little way about talking Cowboys, I feel about the Raiders, but it's just like it makes up a large part of my knowledge base. The GM change to Tom Telesco this year reflected to me in the draft and how well the Raiders drafted this year. They lucked into Brock Bowers falling to them, and he has become a generational talent from the get-go. Yeah. Jackson Powers Johnson won the college award for best center in NCAA last year. He fell to them in the second round, and Telesco took him. They grabbed Cameron Richardson, who was a maligned cornerback because he didn't have any counting stats, but he looked great in coverage. They draft him, and he's already starting in this back half of the season and looking really, really good. They took Tommy Eichenberg, who's an Ohio State linebacker, and that's like LBU, basically. In the 7th round,
for Bobby Carpenter. Can we throw out Bobby Carpenter? Sorry,
and Bobby Carpenter in the 7th, and some random Penn State linebackers every once in a while. And then in the 7th round, they took the kid from Air Force who won the award for the best safety in college football. So the draft, not to give him too much credit, because this draft was so deep that you had guys who were NFL caliber players in the 7th round, but in a draft that deep, he was taking prizes along the way. And I had lots of questions about Tom Telesco because he was the Chargers GM for a long time, but his talent evaluation and his faith in the scouting department are two things that really hit me, really stood out, and give me hope for the future that things can kind of turn around. And I think that is something that you don't get if Mark Davis, who is literally the laughing stock of the NFL just because of his haircut, if he was the GM making the decisions along the lines of Jerry Jones, not only would this franchise still be a 2-3 win team, but they'd also not have any hope for later on. And so I understand what you're saying with Jerry Jones, because or with any kind of GM, like you have to have somebody who has an eye for player evaluation and also trusts his staff. And I don't think Jerry Jones. Yeah, the perfect example of that is when they drafted Deuce Vaughn. He didn't do it because of Deuce Vaughn's talent. Otherwise, Deuce Vaughn would have been playing. He did it simply because of the nepotism. He had the guy's dad on the coaching staff. So they used, I don't want to say wasted, they used a draft pick to pick the guy's kid. And
no.
Like we watched Deuce Vaughn play in college, and he was electric and fun to watch and everything. But you look at his profile and you're like, there's not a chance that dude has a path in the NFL ever. And they still made the pick. So
yeah, I totally agree. That makes perfect sense. But the funny part is thinking about Mark Davis. Mark Davis, but bless him, because I've heard a lot of positivity out of some reporters and things talking about the Raiders, because he's not okay. So let's drop Jerry Jones. Let's talk about the Jets, right? The Jets are having a very hard time creating a narrative of positivity because they have an owner who is putting his there's, I guess you could say Mark Davis is nepotism for the Raiders, right? But you look at the Jets. Apparently, Aaron Rodgers came out and said, "Imagine getting cut by a teenager," and literally there are teenagers of the. I don't know if it's the GM or the owner. I think it's I didn't read it too far into it, but there are kids essentially in the locker room that are looking and talking over their skis about players to their faces. And like, these are grown men, and you introduce a facet like that to your team building, and there's no wonder these guys are literally counting down the days till they're not a Jet anymore. And maybe that's, tie back to the Cowboys and say, at least Mike McCarthy has figured out how to keep these guys' heads on a swivel and keep their mindset right. Because a lot of these guys, Osa Odighizuwa, Jordan Lewis, these guys are going to get contracts. Are they going to be with the Cowboys? I don't think so. I think Osa's gone. I think Jordan Lewis is gone. And those two guys had absolutely great games and great efforts. And damn, it just sucks to be talking about in the past tense about this Cowboy season, because there's so many questions. If Dak was there, would they be better? Are they not? And there's that question all year. But then you look at these coaches. Is Zimmer worth keeping? Oh, well, do you keep McCarthy and lose Zimmer? Do you keep Zimmer and lose McCarthy? I ultimately think it's going to end up being almost the exact same type of season next year. They're gonna probably miss the playoffs next year.
Hey, let me ask like a general question about kind of like something you were saying about how Stephon Gilmore, like, in theory you were saying it would have been cool because he was a leader to have kept him around, but like Biggs, Dave, do y'all think there's a such thing as the older veterans limiting some of the younger guys from getting that experience in the playing time? Because we lost time with Stephon Diggs that allowed other young guys to step up and ball out. And that happens on every team, right? But is there an element of that where you need the veterans to help actually get you those wins? Like right now, our guy is Eric Kendricks on defense. But then we have all these other guys that are awesome as young players. And, it's like maybe they would get even more experience and be better sooner, ready for the next season if we, especially if we're already going to losing, let those guys shine.
There's probably examples about this everywhere. There's probably examples of, it's a very difficult line to walk. And I think the fact that Bland and Diggs lost time this year was unexpected, but they didn't have a plan for outside corner without those even one of those guys missing. So they ended up throwing Kalen Carson's out there and guys who I can't pronounce their names. Okamukwamu, these other guys who had valiant efforts, but they're both free agents. And on our podcast, if you watch, there's a segment I did the past couple of weeks where it was like we put up the free agents that are going next year, and understanding if your team building, this can be applied to all teams. So I want to make sure I don't just be Cowboys focused, but if you apply it to all teams and you understand the free agency process, you cannot have guys. Our free agency list has about 14 guys that are above 20% of snaps played. And most of them are above 40% snaps played. And the top, there's 4 or 5 guys that are 60 to 80% snaps played. All those guys are free agents next year, including Eric Kendricks, Jordan Lewis, Osa Odighizuwa, Turpin, a lot of guys who are breaking out this year, Golston, a lot of guys who need to be on this team. Or you have to replace a guy who played 80 snaps, 8% snaps, 60% snaps. So, like the culture and the way you bring players in is just as important on the back end when you decide who to keep. I'm kind of losing myself here, but it's so important.
So let's keep our GM hats on here. You have a guy who plays 80% of snaps, and you're looking at like his contract expiring, and you maybe need to like set an offer. He's a restricted free agent. You have priority signing with him, and you have the opportunity to retain him. He played 80% of snaps, but your team is under 500. How valuable really is that guy? And there's kind of an adage or a way of operating in the sports world where it's you never replace a guy unless you have somebody better to replace him with. You never fire a coach unless your coaching options out there are better than that. And I think a lot of teams find themselves in the situation where they're moving on from players where they don't have a better replacement for, or retaining players simply because they're there, even though there are better replacements out there. Perfect example. What is the Raiders' best option moving forward? To throw the highest offer that anybody's going to give to Sam Darnold, or to draft a mid quarterback in this quarterback class, or to keep running it back with Aiden O'Connell? Like a savvy GM is going to look at their best option and do whatever it takes to create that situation rather than just settle. And we saw in the last draft with the Raiders, they didn't have an opportunity to get anybody better to make an improvement at the quarterback situation, and instead chose to build the rest of their team around them. Has that helped them with their record? No, but it has helped build the team, and the offensive line is starting to gel, and there are guys on defense that are starting to show themselves that aren't expiring contracts. But you can't move on from a guy unless you have somebody who's better, and you can't retain a guy if there are other better options out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down a lot to also, if you believe in your coaches, did we develop this guy? Like, did we develop this guy? And are we about to let a guy walk that is now ready to play in the NFL? I think that's where the Cowboys are, and a bunch of their guys on defense and some of their guys on offense. I don't think it's as much as flashy to flaunt a offensive lineman like TJ Bass or Brock Hoffman, who I've been ringing the bell for the past month and a half. I think these guys need to be retained kind of guys. But on the other side of the ball, Chauncey Golston, Osa Odigizua, Jordan Lewis are all starter caliber guys. Jordan Lewis is a starter caliber nickel on maybe any team in the league, to be honest. That's how I feel about him. He had a pick last week. He looked great. Osa Odigizua has had a rough 4 years coming into his own, but he forced a fumble last week. He looks like he's finally playing well alongside a rocky prospect in Mozzie Smith, but he's kind of earning some spotlight. And like, are the Cowboys about to let two guys they developed walk? Which that's almost the worst thing in this, because you should be able to lock up a guy. We used to lock up a guy named Cole Beasley, a guy named some linebackers. We've Sean Lee signed an early deal. There are guys we've had that we sign early deals with, and it works out. Now, it doesn't always work out, but that's how you avoid spending big dollars in free agency. And man, if we have so many guys lined up to walk this year, it is literally a transition year, and that was very clear from the dollars and cents. I'm going to have a really hard time seeing, like, a great example was Terrence Newman obviously walked and still played 3 or 4 years. Chardavius Ward was traded for peanuts and played. Is maybe still. I'm not sure where he is now, but he played for the Chiefs, won Super Bowls. There's guys out there that the Cowboys put blood, sweat, and tears in. It feels like we're about to lose a bunch of core guys. It's going to be a totally different team next year.
As a Sacramento Kings fan who watched us trade away Tyrese Halliburton and then lose by 30 to the Pacers last night, I feel you.
Yeah.
And these guys weren't great. Like, Osa had a bunch of naysayers early, and but you draft a guy and you put the Cowboys, for one thing they do well is they keep their draft picks, and a lot of teams do that, but they keep their draft picks almost to a fault, and they invest a lot of time and effort into them. And I think other teams around the league, like, let's look at the Eagles. We always look at the Eagles because they have such a polar opposite approach where they are always mortgaging a little bit of the future to have a good this year. And, the Cowboys fans could not be more pissed off at seeing guys like A.J. Brown go there for just a draft pick. And that A.J. Brown one really pissed me off, too. Because
speaking of Treylon Burks, that was who they ended up trading to get that to happen.
Yeah, I just It's interesting. There's no one way to skin a cat, and I love cats. I have a beautiful little cat, Cheeto. She's the best. But like, there's so many ways to make a team, and the way that the Cowboys have chose to make a team has a ceiling. It's got a very definitive ceiling.
There's another aspect that is underlying that we haven't addressed yet, and that is the environment in the NFL of win now. And so when you guys are Cowboys guys and I'm a Raiders guy, we have a very distinct split here because you guys have a regime that has been carried over year. Now, you don't have Kellen Moore anymore, but Mike McCarthy is still in place. Jerry Jones is still the GM. There hasn't been all that turnover and everything. And you've had Dak Prescott for a while. That one of my favorite stories is the drafting of Dak Prescott. Because back then, I want to say Jack Del Rio was the Raiders head coach, and the draft pick came up, and the Cowboys had their eye on a specific quarterback, and the Raiders wasted a draft pick to draft that quarterback. And when that happened, they did it just to spite Jerry Jones. And when that happened, he was like, all right, we'll take Dak Prescott.
Yeah, y'all saved us. We always talk about
there's
that.
There's a few times we desperately tried to trade up with the Broncos to get what's his name?
I know
the guy who's from Florida, maybe
Brock Osweiler, maybe the guy
from
in that
Florida.
era though. They were on the same team at the same time.
Let's talk about trash guys.
But they tried the stories were they were so disappointed to draft Dak Prescott.
Right.
And it was literally their fourth or fifth guy. And I thought Romo should have started the back leg of that when he was healthy, but that's another discussion.
But I digress. So what you see this case of the Raiders. They've had 3 head coaches over the last 3 years. They've had a couple of different GMs. There's all this constant turnover. And then what you get in the fan base is this idea that you have to win now. And the history of the NFL shows you that a quarterback has to come in and sit with a clipboard for a couple of years. It's really hard for a 21-year-old kid to come in and be successful immediately in the NFL. It's hard for a 22 or 23-year-old kid to do it, right? Offenses are so much more complex than they were even back when the 5-year plan was a thing. And then you get a head coach where Antonio Pierce has a successful second half of 2023 and then a garbage 2024, and people are already calling for his head. What happened to the 5-year plan where a coach could come in and implement a system, have people grow within that system, go draft 3 or 4 classes of players you talked about player development. How do you develop players with a consistent coaching staff when your coaching staff is turned over every single year? You can't do it, and it just creates this vacuum of garbageness, and it prevents organizations from being successful. And it's something that as a Raiders fan, I have been seeing over and over and over again. The last time we were any good was in a little period from 2015 to 2020, where we actually, maybe 2021, 22, we had a playoff caliber team because we had Derek Carr for 6 or 7 years, right? So you have to have that continuity in the NFL. And that's one thing that the Cowboys actually do have, is that continuity. They should be winning because of the continuity, not losing despite it. But then you throw injuries at everybody, and that completely changes the game. So you have to kind of take into account, okay, we got bit by the injury bug, let's run it back. And I think that's the way to build a successful franchise. And I think with that idea, the Cowboys are in a much better situation right now than the Raiders are. The Raiders have a lot of replacements to make. The Cowboys just have some fillers to fill.
Yeah, and I know, Dave, you mentioned we feel like we're losing a lot of guys, but in reality, we got one big signing is Micah Parsons. Yes, we're losing the D-Law, and there's other guys that you mentioned that we're going to lose, but it's one of those things where the core is there, and we can grow with that core. And I think our very first episode, one of the questions I asked was, how would you build the team? You know, how do you build a winning team? And this is kind of what you brought up here. And I mean, it's just kind of going back to the fundamentals, man. Like that's what you need is to start with that quarterback as that foundation. And we got that in Dak Prescott, thankfully. A lot of these teams are searching desperately for quarterback, and it's super hard to get. Because like you said, the guys who have been there and had to sit, like a Jalen Hurts, he had to sit that first year and got a little time to figure out what was going on. And I mean, that's just, you get that, and then you build the rest of the team. Make sure you protect the quarterback and make sure you can get after the other team's quarterback. You get your quarterback, protectors and attackers of their quarterback, and you're good from there. You know, I think all the other stuff you can figure out. The reason the Cowboys kind of struggle is because we don't like to do the free agent part. So it's like we have a lot of that foundation, but then we want it to be all homegrown guys that win the title. We don't want to also
they
bring
start
in
to smell their own farts and they think they can just draft everybody.
Exactly. Like you have to mix in more than one strategy. Like you get your foundation as developed talent, but to get over the hump, you need to make sure you bring in some X factors that can actually help you win it.
But you brought up a good point in you said start with a quarterback. I think the opposite. I think you put the offensive line together. You have 5 guys that can play in tandem, and let's use the Raiders.
And I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
For Cowboys, technically, Dak did come into like an all-time great offensive line.
I was going to say that. Like you guys, all of those guys are gone. But so let's take the Raiders as an example because it's something that's right on the front of my brain. So you have an Aiden O'Connell. Now, is it better to have a shit-ass offensive line and go draft Cam Ward, or is it better to build a foundation of 5 guys who have played a season together, know what like the signal calls, all that stuff, and then go get an Arch Manning, right? That's the way to build a franchise. If you have,
don't take my Arch Manning before he's ready, bro.
Dude, I was on him from
leave him in Texas for a few years, please.
He should have been at LSU from the get-go. I watched that dude as a junior.
Oh, dude, he born and raised, man. I don't know how they let him go. How did they let him go? But dude,
don't take my Manning. It's my only Manning.
The problem is that all teams go into their rebuild at the time in which they go into the rebuild is irrespective of when a quarterback is available. That's the problem. It's like your team, not yours specifically, but a team will be like, we need a quarterback, but maybe there's not one available at that time. That's the problem.
Well,
so that's why it does make more sense to go for the line and stuff like that first.
What's kind of interesting is we're in a new era of NFL because the NFL had an era before Sam Bradford and after Sam Bradford. And we are so convenient to forget that every top quarterback got a top contract just till recently, relatively, till Russell Wilson era and everything. So, you know, it's like drafting these quarterbacks even then was tough to sit them because you'd sit them making top dollar on your cap for a year. And now the cap's been around since 95 or whatever it was. But like, Sam Bradford, prime example. You had to build around your good quarterback, and you couldn't wait until it just never worked out that way. And so now the parity is such that you can find a gunslinger in the second or third round, but you really, I mean, it's just so tough. It's so much a crapshoot, and all the statistics say you're gonna probably miss on your quarterback. Like that's just kind of what the numbers say on drafting these guys. So you have to be vigilant and understand. And like, that's why Dak Prescott's a guy who gets paid. That's why Carr is a guy who gets paid a lot of money. That's why like, Jalen Hurts, did he earn his contract? He had a great postseason, but there were a lot of holes in his game, and he still looks like he's got some holes in his game from my point of view. But like that, these players get these contracts, and you have to just have a core mentality of being aggressive with player acquisition. And so like the Cowboys are super not aggressive with that. The Eagles are very aggressive. The Rams are super aggressive. Some of these teams who have won, the Detroit Lions, you want to look at the other side of that Rams coin, is the Detroit Lions side of that coin, and they have been kind of aggressive getting some of these guys. The way they had built that offense is incredible. So you cannot sit back in the NFL. You can't sit back and say, we're going to do XYZ in XY order and we're going to be fine. You have to adjust on the fly. You have to trade for people. You have to be aggressive in free agency. It's just it's very tough and very difficult. And so from that point of view, is Jerry Jones going to give the job to somebody who's going to do better than he has? 3 years of 12-5 in a row is pretty goddamn good. 1 year where you injure your quarterback and somehow you still win 9 games or 8 games, whatever. That's why we love the NFL, right? It's pretty goddamn cool.
What I heard you say was you have to be able to adjust on the fly. But what you really said was fantasy football is just like the NFL. You have to be able to, there is no one right way. Roster construction is based on the grind, the work that you do, and an element of luck. Just keep putting
the luck part.
Let
me just highlight luck. Absolutely luck. Because being aggressive creates your own luck. You create your own luck by being competent and aggressive. And the Eagles have done that, and we hate the Eagles. We hate everything about the Eagles. Hugh Laurie looks like discount Lorne Michaels, and he'll never have as much money as he does. And I think they basically look like the same person, and that's just a PA, a personal attack on
I think you mean Jeffrey Laurie, because Huey Laurie is.
Can we put them all in the same box for the sake of my
argument? The guy from like the doctor, the house.
House.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't mean to call hate on Hugh Laurie. My bad. Jeff Laurie.
Bring that show back.
No. Jeff Laurie. That was a subtle dig on Jeff Laurie. Not as smart as Hugh Laurie. But yeah, okay. The luck part, but you have to kind of create a luck by being by having a system you're willing to do that in. The Cowboys just have said, fuck that. We're not interested in paying a guy because Brandon Carr kind of sort of burned us. And we tried to sign what's the guy's name? The Eagles, the guy who signed with the Eagles, Osamoah Nnamdi.
Raiders legend.
Apparently the Silver Fox, Rob Ryan, had him on the phone in training camp to sign him. Couldn't close the deal. Obviously he went on the suck asshole. We're not debating that, but that was since that offseason, we have not done anything like that. It's disappointing.
Football is fun, you guys. All right, we're at halftime. I don't know if anybody's even watching.
Nice.
Where the hell are the Undroppables people? Come on, you guys. We had Travis come in, and where's everybody else? It's the staff party. Nobody wants a Christmas party. Anyway, we are at halftime. The New Orleans Saints are absolutely getting their asses handed to them.
Yeah, blowout.
So it's time for Biggs to mix a signature Biggs cocktail. I'm talking about the habanero habanero smoked pickle martini.
Dang.
So I'm going to hit this shaker with a little bit of ice.
I'm going to go off cam for you boys.
Yeah.
Good. I am going with smoked habanero pickle juice.
Green for the Packers. Green and yellow.
Sure. We'll call it that. Let's do an ounce and a half of that.
And Biggs, we're looking at the Saints game. You excited to go to New Orleans for the Super Bowl?
I
know you
so
got
excited.
A crazy trek. One of the most awesome treks I've heard. But you're going to Dallas for the Shrine Bowl, then
Correct.
Going to the Super Bowl in New Orleans, and
I'm
then
going to the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama.
The Senior Bowl's before the Super Bowl. Got you.
Correct.
Alabama, then ending it in New Orleans.
Okay, real quickly,
I love it.
because
I love it.
Because of this drink that I'm about to make, I got a new hat.
It seems like something they would drink in New
I
Orleans.
went with new hat.
Is this a Christmas present?
Hey, let's go. Hey, yeah, we got some college playoffs that we're thinking about too. How about that? Pickle slut.
My girlfriend just came in and gave me a new hat.
Nice.
Merry Christmas. I love you.
Merry Christmas from Pinky.
So apparently this hat came from the dude that makes these smoked habanero pickles.
Nice.
So I got the juice in there. I'm doing an ounce of vermouth. This is dry vermouth because you can't make a.
I'm a gin guy. I'm familiar with some vermouth.
All right, we're gonna talk gin here in a second.
Can we squeak in some college playoff talk? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we can.
So funny you happen to mention the college playoffs, my guy.
Kendra Miller with the first down. What's he up to? 30 or 40 yards so far?
Yeah, nothing too exciting for people who thought he might be a little sneaky league winner. I mean, there's no touchdown upside there, unfortunately. They're just
okay.
He's just getting stopped.
So I'm rolling with the standard Bombay Sapphire. It's not my favorite, but let's talk gin in a second.
Yeah, I'm not a connoisseur, but it's one of my cocktails of choice and heading out when I go downtown in Austin.
What is your cocktail of choice?
Well, first I like
your gin cocktail of choice.
What's it? The French 45?
French 75?
75.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so you don't know this about me.
Little champ and gin.
Yeah, and lemonade. You don't know this about me, but I'm over on the Fantasy Football Advice Network, and I have a show called Breakfast with Biggs. And Sunday morning, 8 a.m. Pacific, I get on there. I do starts and sits for half an hour. And every week I introduce a new cocktail. My first show ever, that's my favorite cocktail, French 75.
Hey.
It's a go-getter. It's a starter, and maybe I was at a place that had labeled it a 45. I don't remember, but in any case, it's the ingredients. You got the champs, you got the lemonade, you got the gin, and a little rind on there. That's a beautiful, refreshing drink.
It kicks mimosa's ass so hard.
It does. It does. Although I like a mimosa, but you can't. I'll take the French 75 all day over a mimosa.
Yeah, Rattler cannot buy a first down. Yeah, man, that sounds pretty good. I have not been a gin guy. Speaking of Christmas, it reminds me of Christmas trees, gin. But
you gotta tell me
the right one.
You're not gonna tell the warm gin story, Alex?
I don't know what story you're talking about.
We as a crew rent a Airbnb. We used to when it was a little easier to do than it is nowadays. But we used to rent a party house for our little get-togethers once a year, and yeah, I might have drank a warm gin shot or two in the morning that weekend.
Oh yeah,
and it might have been sitting out all night. Who knows? I don't remember. I don't remember.
I think that was the one with the pool hot dog. I think that was the same weekend.
It was a pool rib.
Pool rib, yeah.
We were grilling ribs, and I threw one across the pool. It landed in the pool. My homie just picked it up. It was like pool rib, and ate it. Oof.
Smoked habanero pickle martini.
Hey.
Oh wait,
good, man.
I forgot the garnish.
Man. There you go. I might have to go to the store here in a second and grab a second round.
So my gin story begins. I'm 16 years old. I live in Davis. Davis is 10, 15 minutes from Sacramento. My best friend lives in Sacramento. I go out to his house. His mom is a nurse. She works graveyard shifts. So we basically have she's gone all the time. And she was also a single mother. So it was her huge salary and then him. And so he always had money. He had cars when we were 15 years old, whatever. So we're asked to babysit his cousin who lives across the street. His aunt leaves. We go over there and we're bored trying to babysit his little cousin. And he's like, let's see what kind of booze she's got. We open up her liquor cabinet. She's got one bottle of gin and one bottle of Mai Tai mix. Now, anybody who knows tiki cocktails knows that gin is not a part of a Mai Tai. So we start to mix Mai Tai mix and gin. At one point, I'm so hammered, I go upstairs because we couldn't go outside to smoke. We had to smoke outside the upstairs bathroom window. So I wanted to smoke a cigarette. I go outside or go up to the bathroom. I'm hanging outside of the bathroom window upstairs. I drop my cigarette. It rolls down the roof into the gutter, which is filled with dry leaves. So I'm like, shit, what do? I climb out of the window onto the half roof to go grab my cigarette out of the gutter.
Spider-Man.
I get it out of the gutter and slide right off the roof. So my friend Dave is downstairs in the living room with his cousin. He sees me through the slider, drop, boom, and lands straight on my side. We
Not a
continue-
Spider-Man.
We continue not spider. We continue to drink. He decides it's a great idea to take his cousin over to the middle school that's across the street and play a little baseball, where I proceed to vomit and completely pass out on the bench of the dugout. The next morning, my mom comes and picks me up, and I had this hangover that I've never experienced before. It was a cloudy day, and the brightness of the clouds I could not see. My head was pounding, and my mom was like, "What's going on?" I was like, "I am sick." I'm 16. I couldn't tell her what was going on. So from that day forward, for 30 years, if I smelled gin, it was.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Couple years ago, I started like my girlfriend likes the clear ones. She likes vodka. She likes gin. I'm a whiskey guy, Scotch, bourbon, rye, rum. So she drinks gin. So I start dabbling a little bit. Over time, boom, it's become one of my favorite things. I love martinis. I love gin cocktails. There's a smash cocktail with you muddle cucumber and mint and gin, and then add some seltzer and simple syrup. One of the best cocktails of all time. I love gin. Love gin. Love gin.
I gotta open my horizons.
It's underrated because it does take a little bit of a introduction. You don't just start out with a shot of gin.
Yeah, that's like me with like mango drinks. I had mixed like mango and Jose Cuervo, like gold, because I didn't know what I was doing back in the day as a kid, and it might have been a part of like a 7-day drinking bender. Where it was like kind of a challenge to just keep the drinking going all day, every day for 7 days during the one summer. And I hated mango flavor after that.
Right. When you should have thought, I love mango, but Cuervo is garbage.
Yeah.
There's your problem.
Yeah, I think the Four Loko thing really reset my palate. There was a Four Loko era. that whole thing was the tragedy in itself.
You had to be there. You had to be
Four Locos in a night was the goal. Puke City. Also, if you've never poured something into a glass, okay, if you want to any drink, pour it into a clear glass. If it looks artificial, you have to pour it back out of that glass into the drain, because Four Loko looked like a neon concoction from The Simpsons, like from Homer's nuclear reactor.
Plutonium.
Like that's what it looked like. It glowed in the glass. And me and Chris, my brother, would do drinking games with Four Locos. What the hell were we thinking, dude? The early 2000s, the 20 teens or whatever it was called, were a weird time for experimental energy drinks with alcohol in them. Sparks, Tilt, Four Loko. Oh God, I'm probably gonna die 5 years earlier because of that time.
I was not a drinker when so I drank a lot from age 13 to age 22. And then when I was 22, I got married and I stopped drinking for like 15 years. And that was from like 98 to 2003, really. I missed the Four Loko craze. I missed everything in the 2000s years. So I don't have any reference point, but I currently work in the liquor industry. That's a better way to put it than I work in the liquor store.
Coming in.
They actively changed the recipe to Four Loko. It's not the same drink anymore.
It's not.
But everything right now is Buzz Balls, and then
what the hell? Do people buy those?
Oh my God, they're
I
like,
see them at my gas station, and I'm like, who buys these?
so.
And I saw a big one. I saw a big buzz
Yes,
ball.
yep,
I was like,
$23.
who the fuck buys this big ass piece of shit?
Apparently, they're pretty good if you like juice that has a lot of booze in it. But our top 3 sellers, really, besides Modelo, because this is Northern California, Beatbox is a new, like, it's a paper carton cocktail.
Yeah.
Mm.
Buzz Balls.
Ew, okay.
And Four Locos.
Oh my
And
God.
and then to a certain extent, Mike, Twisted Tea and Mike's. So those are like really the 5 things that people are really buying. Besides like your $7 a pint vodka for the degenerates. But anyway, yeah. So I have no reference point for these like.
It was a weird time,
cocktails,
man.
canned
Tilts,
cocktails.
Sparks, and Four Locos with all the ginseng, guarana, and caffeine in them. Was a
Taurine,
weird
yes.
time. And like watching the 2011-2010 Rangers playoff run, drinking games with those Four Locos was just.
Oh yeah, dude.
Anyway, I got to wrap, dudes. I really appreciate hanging out and having fun and everything. And
Yeah.
God bless. Have a Merry Christmas and everything. I can't wait to do our Cowboys episode this week, Dynasty, and we'll get there soon. And
Yes,
it was
sir.
really nice talking to you, Biggs. And
Yes.
everyone have a very safe and very fun Merry Christmas.
All right, Merry Christmas, man. Take it easy.
Thanks for hanging out,
Peace.
Big D.
Of course, man. We'll talk to y'all soon.
Yes, sir.
Peace.
All right. We are it's I mean, really, it's the office Christmas party and everybody left.
Hey, maybe they're turning up. You know, people do have families. You know, I got one. I got one as well in the other room. But yeah. Last thing I was going to say was college football wise, my squad, Texas Longhorns, back in the college playoffs. You know, expanding every year. The college playoffs, getting bigger and bigger. And you know, this is the first year they're in the SEC, so it's pretty big for recruiting wise. If they can win this thing, like right off the jump, you know, could be the potential like dynasty. Honestly, if they can win this, I think we're going to get so much top talent coming this way. Yeah, I think either way, a lot of good players are going to want to go to UT. But you know how it is. You win that title, then you have a potential to fill the vacuum that's Alabama. Because I'm wondering, like, now that Saban's gone and, you know, Alabama's taking a little bit of a step back, like they're not going to have what they used to have. Like some team may be able to do that again. I know with the NIL era, it's not realistic, but you know, just with teams and players moving around all over the place. But I have a feeling that if we can do this pre-Arch Manning era and win, and then go into the Arch Manning era with all these prospects that are excited about playing with a Manning, this could be a college dynasty that I'm just calling it right now. We're about to see a Texas dynasty for the long
There it
run.
is. There's the flag plant right there. We are on the precipice, you guys, of a University of Texas dynasty.
Let's go, hook 'em. Suck it, haters.
I will proudly suck it. First of all, I'm an Arkansas fan, and anybody who knows history knows that pre-SEC, one of the biggest rivalries in all of sports was Arkansas and Texas. I remember fondly the Cotton Bowl of 2020 was 2000. It was 2000 because I'm old. Y2K was on everybody's mind.
Oh yeah.
And so my family decided to rent a few cabins up in the
Just
mountains,
in case.
just in case. And so we all went up there. We had a great New Year's Eve. New Year's Day, Arkansas played Texas in the Cotton Bowl and kicked the absolute shit out of them. And it was a great day as an Arkansas fan. Fast forward, I have problems. I have big problems with the head coach of the University of Texas Longhorns, Steve Sarkisian.
Former
Big
Alabama.
problems. He is a piece of shit. He is a garbage person. All right, so here's the backstory. So early 2000 era, Marshawn Lynch era at Cal. Cal was the University of California Golden Bears, and their head coach Jeff Tedford were hot on the recruiting trail, and they were trying to put together a good class of recruits. There was a local kid, Eric Armstead from Pleasant Grove High School that I coached in baseball. There was a Cal legacy named Shaq Thompson. You might have heard of him. His
Seahawks.
His brother, Carolina Panthers.
Oh,
Shaq, you're thinking of the Griffins.
Shaquille Griffin. Yeah, Shaq Griffin.
Right.
Yeah, my bad.
Shaq Thompson is a linebacker for the Carolina Panthers. His brother was a Cal legacy. My son and I were driving around North Sac one day, and we come across this minivan that is covered in Cal stickers. And I'm a Cal fan. And we pull up right next to it. And I look over, and Shaq Thompson is in the passenger seat with his grandmother. And I was like, roll on, you Bears, and started like yelling Cal Bears stuff. His grandma was going crazy, and Shaq was like, yes, go Bears. At the time, Shaq Thompson was a Cal Bears commit. So was Eric Armstead. So fast forward a little bit. Jeff Tedford is on the recruiting trail. He has got an assistant coach named Tosh Lupoy, who was a defensive lineman and was a previous defensive lineman, now a Cal coach. And he was one of his recruiters, and he was in charge of the Sacramento area. So Tosh Lupoy is going out on recruiting trips paid for by head coach Jeff Tedford and his recruiting budget. What we didn't know at the time was that Steve Sarkisian came in as the head coach at the University of Washington and took Tosh Lupoy aside and said, hey, I have a couple of targets. I want you to get to flip their commitments from Cal to Washington. And if you can do that, I have a boat right here on Lake Washington that I will sign the title over to you. I will give you a promoted position as a coach in my coaching staff. And Tosh Lupoy went on recruiting trips under the guise of being a Cal recruiter, but he was recruiting for Washington.
Wow.
And Shaq Thompson flipped to the University of Washington from Cal. Literally, his brother went to Cal. His grandmother was a Cal fan. I don't know what they paid him. I don't know what they promised him, but he flipped. Eric Armstead, Sacramento kid, committed to Cal. He was so upset by the whole situation that he changed his commitment not only from Cal to Washington, but then from Washington to Oregon. And he went and played at Oregon. And that was all Steve Sarkisian. So this is pre-NIL days. This is when all of that shit was a violation. So what is Steve Sarkisian doing now? How did Steve Sarkisian get Arch Manning? I don't know.
I have the answer if you're actually asking. It sounded rhetorical, but they got the deal with Lamborghini. They got all the boosters, man. They got all the money. What are you talking about? They're literally every player is getting a Lamborghini, man. If you're 17 about to go into college and they're just saying, here's your Lamborghini, you know what I mean? It's like nowadays you don't even have to hide from it.
No.
Oh my God.
No. So Steve Sarkisian is a piece of shit. I will never root for him. I will only root for Arch Manning to enter the transfer portal and finish his career at LSU. I hate that dude so much because I'm thinking of a Jeff Tedford Cal, which was like it was competitive, and those are NFL players. Eric Armstead is like he is a defensive lineman now for the Jacksonville Jaguars that played for the 49ers. Shaq Thompson is a Pro Bowl linebacker for the Carolina Panthers. Those are guys that could have made an impact at the University of California, and Sarkisian was a snake and got them away, which I understand. So okay, here's the thing. Like I'm a pro steroids and baseball guy. I'm like I'm a like fuck your recruiting violations bullshit. Like, you know, if you're not cheating, you're not trying hard enough. That's kind of how I look at everything. But still, when it happens to me, fuck him.
Brutal. Yeah,
You know?
and honestly, Sark kind of sounds like a snake name.
Steve Snakesian. We got it. Just the fact that USC ever hired him tells you all you need to know.
Yeah,
They only hire pieces of shit.
I don't think I'm allowed to talk trash about Sarkisian, but
Nope,
I
you
didn't
can't.
know that. I didn't
You
know
can't.
that fun fact.
I have a few.
Yeah, I'm just hoping Quinn Ewers can just deliver and not take my campus to Canton shares. like please just
You have
graduate.
I mean,
Luckily he already declared for the NFL, so there won't be an LSU Arch Manning, thankfully. Because that was my first nightmare, was that somehow Ewers was going to come back and Manning would leave. I'm like, no.
If Ewers was coming back next year, he would transfer.
See ya.
Let's talk about Ewers for a second.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was. I thought he was going to transfer. I didn't think he was going to enter the draft.
I saw he's declaring for the draft, man. But maybe, maybe a chance. But also, why? I don't know why you would even declare anything when you're in the playoffs. I don't understand that. Like, I know some guys have already said that they're coming back, so it's not a distraction for the team while they're in the playoffs.
It happens every year.
Yeah, but I think I could have sworn Quinn Ewers is gone. He's out of there.
I see you on the Google machine. I'm pretty sure he's coming back.
Let me see.
Now, here's the thing. Let's talk about Quinn Ewers for a second, because about a month ago on my Raiders Uncovered show, I revealed that of all of the quarterbacks in the class, I would be the most happy with Quinn Ewers.
I'm saying Indiana.
And we got an interception, Green Bay. Spencer
Nice.
Rattler, who's been garbage from high school. So
yeah, I'm not going to look this up on the fly, but yeah, I think maybe he changed his mind as long as he's getting out the way. To be honest, that's all I care about.
So if you're into any kind of like C2C, one of the things that you want to look at is positional success rates based on recruiting class. And one of the things about quarterbacks, they've tracked the success of quarterbacks transitioning from the NCAA, to the NFL. And they look at their recruiting. So you have this correlation between your recruiting stars from Rivals and 24/7 and your success rate in the NFL. And at quarterback, 5-star quarterbacks from Rivals and 24/7 from both, 5-star quarterbacks from both have a 25% hit rate in fantasy on the NFL level.
Yeah.
The only quarterback, if Quinn Ewers comes out this season, the only quarterback in the 2025 quarterback class with 5-star ratings from Rivals and 24/7 is Quinn Ewers. Not Shedeur Sanders, not Cam Ward, not any of them. When you go from 5-star recruits to 4-star recruits, you drop to 10% success rates for Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. Now, I'm going to count on my Raiders to draft somebody in the top of the first round. And who do I want them to draft with that pick? Do I want them to draft a quarterback that has a 10% success rate, or do I want to take somebody else that will help
Hunter.
the team? And then later on, grab a quarterback. If Quinn Ewers enters the 2025 draft and he's a second rounder, are you kidding me? I will take the analytics over the eye test or whatever. And I've watched Shedeur Sanders and I've watched Cam Ward, and I see the exact same things I saw from 2022 Michael Penix and Bo Nix. Exact same thing. They throw across the field. They make bad decisions. Their footwork isn't great. Their shoulders aren't lined up. I see the exact same things. And it took 2023 for Michael Penix and Bo Nix to clean those things up and become top 12 talents in the NFL. Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders have not had that opportunity yet. They're not ready. They need a couple years. They cannot come in and be the next Jaden Daniels, but they get the hype to do that. It's not going to happen. If you're a dynasty fantasy player, you are not drafting a quarterback in this first round because they are not going to be successful. You are drafting a running back and a wide receiver. We've got the deepest running back class we've seen in forever. We've got guys like Quinshon Judkins and Rocket Sanders that are going to be second and third rounders in your rookie fantasy drafts that are NFL level talents.
Yeah, Tennessee's got it back. SMU's got it back. Kansas, in my background, they've got it back. Like everybody's got a running back.
Yes. Do not draft Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. Don't do it. They're not going to be successful in the NFL.
That's hot.
I'm looking at my NFL team dropping out of the sweepstakes for those guys.
Like, thank you.
Now, unfortunately, we also dropped out of Travis Hunter sweepstakes.
Yeah,
I feel like he goes to the Jaguars, and that doesn't help anybody except them.
No, so some good nuggets, man. It's one of those things where we know the teams are going to draft their quarterbacks, and sometimes you get saved from yourself. And really, like for me, the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh round, like you'd want to be at the top of those rounds too, obviously. But at the expense of making the wrong pick in the first round, it's better that y'all move back a little bit. And yes, there's still 2 weeks left. I just don't think after y'all winning that game, I don't see you getting in that range anymore. Then you have to make an active decision to trade up at this point.
We're about to kick the shit out of the Saints next week. We're going to lose the Chargers.
This is a bad game here.
but we're going to finish with 4 wins.
Saints have no players left.
The Saints are so bad that Emmanuel Wilson is now leading the charge for the Packers, and he's getting first downs. They've been like, let's wrap Josh Jacobs.
Brooks is not Jonathan, but Brooks, whatever his name is. Brooks
is that Chris done. Brooks, or I thought
no, I'm saying he already got his touchdown, and now they're done using him.
It's
pretty bad.
Let's take a peek at what's going on in fantasy right now. Since that's quite, my mouth isn't working. Since that's kind of what we're looking at. So in my home league, I have Condre Miller. He's got 5 points, and Jordan Love is on my bench with 9. That's not bad, right? You wanted Jordan Love to not have a good night, right?
Yeah, I was hoping he sucked, and I also had Josh Jacobs playing against him. But that matchup was, I already had the lead there, and now Jacobs with another 20 burger. I mean, this guy's. I don't know. I don't think it's quietly a league winner because he's been top 3 in rushing yards most of the year. I think this week Bijan passed him in rushing yards, but he's like top 5 in rushing yards. Jacobs, that is. So that's that. Oh my goodness, that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 20-point games in a row for Jacobs, and he had a 12-point week and then 2 20-point weeks before that. So Jacobs quietly a league winner.
Quietly. Let's go, JJ. Love you.
What about the receivers for the Packers? Anything good there? Jaden Reed, has he bounced back? 1 catch. Oh my God, man, it's just been rough for Jaden Reed, man.
That's not a bounce back. Well, considering the fact that Jordan Love is 13 to 22 for 131 yards and they're up by 4 scores and shutting out
weird.
the Saints. That's not going to lead to much in the passing game.
Yeah.
But I'm winning that matchup by over 24 points. The unfortunate part of that is that I'm in 10th place and I'm playing 9th place. So I'm screwing up myself out of the 101.
Yeah.
Let's just hope that this person that I'm playing against that doesn't scout, she doesn't do much but drink and get involved. Maybe she doesn't know who Tet McMillan is.
Yeah, I'm in a league where it's based on the like potential points forced, and so even though I didn't know that until after the season concluded, so I was kind of tanking for the 101, to be honest.
Okay.
So I'll actually get the 102, but I feel like they might go Genty instead of Tet. We'll see.
Here's one. This one was much less close. This week, what is happening? Luke Musgrave is starting. All right, I got to get him out of there. Bench. I got to drop somebody. Oh, no. I'm dropping Patrick Taylor.
Yeah.
But
thanks for the pregame advice. I know Malik Washington didn't go off, but like Patrick Taylor's on that same team I was asking you about, and I'll probably be dropping Patrick Taylor. And guys, just for a little pre-fantasy end of season advice, this is for some folks the last week where you can make transactions. I'm in a lot of leagues where you can still make transactions the week after, which is kind of weird, I think. But anyway, if this is the last week you can make transactions, if this is a player that is not going to make your roster next season, you should be looking for some kind of upside stash, whether it's a tight end. A lot of times the tight ends, because people don't care about tight ends, a good one will be available. I'd rather stash that or a rookie at a different position or a running back that may get just some off-season hype that you can flip. Something like that.
So this was a league in which the last couple weeks I have picked up Malik Washington and Patrick Taylor just in case. Patrick Taylor is going to return to his RB4 status. Malik Washington is going to get punchy over the next couple of years. Okay, so I needed to move Luke Musgrave off the IR to have my points counted, whatever. So I just did that. But this is a league, a dynasty league, where I am fighting for the championship. I was very comfortably in the league coming into this week. And in the matchup, my opponent has Tucker Kraft, Jordan Love, Jamal, and Jordan. Sorry. In the starting lineup, he has Tucker Kraft. Tucker Kraft has 13.5 points. My lead is now down to 4.6.
Ooh.
I really don't need Tucker Kraft to do much more. Incidentally, if anybody is a fan of the show The League from TBS, that team is called the Kevin's Microdongs. In my Fantasy Football Advice Network Jersey League, the winner gets a Josh Hines Allen jersey, not because there's 2 Josh Allens, and my producer on Fantasy Football Advice Network and the Jaguars uncovered host Schultze is a Jaguars fan. So if I win this league, I get the jersey. I'm gifting it to Schultze. I beat Jack Lucene. I'm up by 50 points at this point. Kendry Miller and Granderson. Oh, and Keyshawn Nixon. I have still scoring points for me. He's done. So Lucene, Jack, sorry, you suck. You're done. Next league, the Dukes Classic. This is an Undroppables league. This is the league that DFK knows this league. I've talked about this league on our show, which incidentally is at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning on Player Profiler News. Keep drinking DFK.
Yeah.
We got
Yeah,
a
hope
show
you
at
can
10
wake
a.m.
up.
This is a draft that was done at the Fantasy Football Expo at the Undroppables house. We had 8 guys: Joe Kuvatakis, Dukes, Greinberg, me, Chalk, Jax. We were all there. And we were supposed to draft on Sunday, like with it. But at 4 a.m, after bar hopping and going through all the like Fantasy Football Expo shenanigans, we were like, let's draft now. Tommy Moe too, he's in the league. So we drafted. No computers, no charts, no draft sheets, nothing.
Off the dome.
Off the top of the head. 8 teams, 3 quarterbacks. What? Sorry, 2 quarterbacks, 1 superflex. And they made fun of me for drafting Jaden Daniels with my first pick. And guess what? Right now, I'm 4 points ahead of Chalk to win the league, or to win the week. I've got Jaden Reed, who's gotten me 2 points, but I had the lead anyway, and he's done. I'm winning the next match in the Dukes Classic. I get Jax Falcone next week for the championship. Jax Falcone, expert, sharp. One of the, like, Chalk and Jax are 2 of the most revered fantasy analysts in the dynasty space, and I'm beating them.
Yeah, Jax Falcone is great with show titles, and I had to explain to my mother-in-law why, when my phone automatically connected to my Bluetooth, why my Spotify said whipping out the Penix.
If you are not automatically subscribed to the Jax Falcone Undroppables podcast, do it now. Just mainly because of his guests. And I will say, I'm still waiting on my invitation, Jax. I know you've had Mike on. I know you've had Joe Kuvatakis on. I'm still waiting on my. Maybe if I beat you, I'll be worthy of being a guest on your podcast. All right.
That's the real prize.
C2C league that was put together at Dynasty Pros. I'm in round 2. I am up by 105 points. I feel like I have this one in the bag. Yeah. Although he has Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Watch out. He's had some hot weeks.
Right.
Got a whole quarter left.
He's out. Undisputed. The other Undroppables Dynasty League, Travis and I at the beginning of the show talked about. I have Jacobs going tonight, 24.7 points. He has Kendry Miller. I already had a comfortable lead. And this was an orphan that I took over.
Nice.
I came in as the 6th seed. I want to say, yeah, I was the 6th seed. Chalk just got beat. So Joshua J. Hyun, I will see in the championship next week. I just beat John Henry's. All of those are either Undroppables folks or Undroppables followers. And then finally, the DNO, the draft night out. That was it's a redraft league that's drafted at the Fantasy Football Expo. I'm in the Randy Moss League. The winner gets a Randy Moss jersey.
Awesome.
I'm playing against DMIC Media. My team is called Brockback Mountain.
Wow.
I have Condre Miller. He's got Jaden Reed, Romeo Dubs, and Condre Miller is down. I was scared, you guys. Right now I'm at 152 to 137, so I have a 15-point lead. I was scared coming into this night. He has 6 points from 2 guys. I have 5 from Kendry Miller, who just caught another pass.
There you go.
No, that wasn't it. That was Mims. Why are they giving the ball to Jordan Mims? I don't want them to do that. So live, real time, good wins. Bad beats. Incidentally, you're here on the Undroppables right now. 10 a.m. Pacific tomorrow, 1 p.m. on the East Coast. These two guys right here, Biggs and DFK, on Player Profiler News. Hop over to that channel, subscribe. We have our Dynasty Stock Market show. I don't care how hungover I am. We're gonna be on that show. I don't know if you're gonna be there, but I will be.
Yeah, man. I wonder any spoilers of who you might be targeting for the thumbnail.
Not
Brian
Spencer
Thomas Jr.,
Rattler.
but we've already done Brian Thomas Jr., obviously, right? But he's been going off.
So if it wasn't for Chalk was beating me until the Raiders backfield coverage broke down and Brian Thomas Jr. got loose for that long touchdown.
The fourth quarter, right? Yeah.
That's how I beat him.
Nice.
Can
I ask you a repeat question of something I asked you on that show a month or so ago, maybe 2 months ago, where I did a trade that it was one of your favorite players. I trade for Brock Bowers, and this is earlier in the season. This is very early. This is maybe week 4, maybe week 6, something like that. I trade for Brock Bowers in a trade that I prefaced by saying I feel like I massively overpaid. Brian Thomas Jr. This is Brock Bowers. Brian Thomas Jr. and Sam Laporta for Brock Bowers. And I'm getting Brock Bowers. And this was, we saw flashes from Brian Thomas. Both players we knew, we thought at that point were good. We felt very good about both players. Laporta was still down at the moment. Laporta has been a decent tight end for the tight end position, but we clearly know Bowers is Bowers. We know that.
Right.
But now that we have a little bit more hindsight, I'm gonna re-ask the question: How much did I either get fleeced, or how however you want to phrase it? But how do you feel about Bowers for that trade?
I feel like that.
And my team is nasty. I have a ton of talent on that team. I'm literally not worried about losing him.
Right.
Like I got like Jonathan Taylor going off. I got like B. John Robinson. I got a ton of studs on that team.
So here's the thing. So I just talked about my draft night out team. My draft night out team, and one of the things especially in redraft that people will try and tell you is keep your flex for your top 5 running backs and your wide receivers. I'm about to win this league, this tournament, whatever. And I have Brock Bowers, Jonnu Smith, and Trey McBride in my tight end and flex spots. I've been rolling with 2 tight ends in my flex spots the whole season. Coming into this year, metrics-wise, analytically, I had Brock Bowers as the wide receiver 4 in the 2024 wide receiver class. I had Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Romo Dunze ahead of Brock Bowers. He was the wide receiver 4, but he's playing in the tight end position. So to call that guy a wide receiver, or to call him a tight end, but then you get those points plugged into your tight end spot, which doesn't happen, that's a cheat code. The problem is you have Sam Laporta, who did the same damn thing last year. And on top of that, you add Brian Thomas Jr., who was the wide receiver 1 of that class when all is said and done. Now, talent-wise, Malik Neighbors is the guy. Brian Thomas Jr., and we talked about this last week on a bunch of different shows, especially right here on the Undroppables on the Dynasty Pulse. Look for that every week. And we discussed the difference between the value of Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. I still believe in Malik Neighbors' talent over Brian Thomas Jr. career-wise.
Well, let me just quickly interrupt. I have Neighbors on that team also.
Well, there you go. Opportunity-wise, Brian Thomas Jr. has absolutely showed out this year, and is the top of the class for their rookie seasons, which is, I mean, that's Justin Jefferson level. That's Jamar Chase level. Guys don't lead their rookie class in wide receiver in recent history unless they are that elite level. There are some underlying analytics that we did not see from Brian Thomas Jr. And one of those is opportunity. It happens all the time. So on balance, you can say you lost that trade. You lost that trade just because of the fact that Sam Laporta still has the opportunity to go out there and have 15-point games on top of Brian Thomas Jr.'s 20, 25-point games.
Being disgusting. Yeah.
And at the same time, what you're getting is Brock Bowers and his 20-point games. The thing is, at that tight end position, with Brock Bowers, you're counting on that in TE that you can't get from Sam Laporta. So you still win at that position. And if Brian Thomas Jr. is just another top 10 receiver on top of your lineup, you're okay. On balance, you lost the trade. But that's not necessarily what's going to happen week after week in fantasy.
Yeah, it's just me trying to give a little more transparency. Like, I don't run from any of these trades. I get a little aggressive here and there, but it was just hard to deny what I was seeing from Brock Bowers, man. And
sure. Can I ask you a question though?
Yeah.
Why in the hell are the Green Bay Packers calling up pass plays with 10 minutes?
Yeah, you
left
saw that.
In the
That was
fourth
a
quarter,
nasty.
and they're up 24 points.
That was a disgusting Jaden Reed.
Stop giving Jaden Reed points at this point.
That was a nice ball, though.
He's not helping me in leagues I have him. I'm already winning. He's hurting me in leagues that I don't need him to score any more points. Stop it.
Oh, there's some Wicks action. They're still throwing it. Yeah.
Uh-oh. Are you – wait. So Jordan Love up. He's audibling.
I don't know if I'm ahead of you or behind you.
Here comes Reed back. He goes, and that's Wicks. So you're well ahead of me.
Yeah, man. They're just some of these teams like to pour it on. And NFC North, Lions, now the Packers, they love to just pile it on.
I don't have a problem with piling it on. I have a problem with beating my fantasy team.
Stop beating me. Maybe they know it's the playoffs right now, and people need something from Jaden Reed other than one catch.
But even he's not getting it. Well, he got the second one.
Now he has two catches. Yeah, yeah.
I'm okay as long as
it's been a crazy
Tucker
season.
Kraft doesn't do much. Oh, wow, that was a good hit.
Yeah,
I really like the Saints.
Yeah, they're after Drew Brees. You know, it's just like we were saying earlier about how to build a team. You know, so you lose Drew Brees. Next move is X. Okay, you bring in Derek Carr instead of just focusing on paying other talent or something like that. Then that's part of the risk. Like Vikings, they got Darnold for way cheaper. He's been way more productive. I'm trying to think if there's another quarterback that could have been in that mold. Like, there's only one Darnold, obviously. Like, you can't just keep getting the same guy over and over. But yeah, what you got?
I didn't realize that there were. It's okay.
Ah, nice. So that's the zip, the phone number, right?
Roland 907.
907.
Anchorage, Alaska.
Smoking.
Smoking. This is. I didn't know that.
I love that. I love that extra flair in there. Yeah.
Derek Carr is going to be back next year, but I think it's the last year of his deal. He's not going to do a whole lot.
Chris Olave was activated from IR, and I don't think he played.
No. I think his window was open, but he wasn't.
Yeah.
He wasn't available.
He's probably done this year. One trade I traded Olave for Njoku as soon as Olave went down in a full 1 point, so 2 points per tight end premium. That went great for Njoku. He's been crushing, but yeah,
he's been phenomenal.
He's see Olave get back. Olave needs a quarterback upgrade.
So in my home league, there's this environment of it's only a 10-team league.
All right, 27-0 score update.
But I have David Njoku, and I drafted Brock Bowers. So my tight ends
Yeah,
at this
that's
point
my
are,
combo too. And nice.
I have Jonnu Smith, I have Brock Bowers, and I have David Njoku. And I tried my hardest throughout all of last offseason and all of this season trying to move David Njoku, and nobody would buy him. No, nobody.
Crazy.
I couldn't add him to any trades or whatever. He's tight end 7, you guys. He's tight end 7. I have 3 of the top 7 tight ends because he's my worst tight end. And nobody would take him.
So moral of the story is this offseason, find those guys that nobody wants, you know?
Yes. And
you know who was like that a long time ago? James Conner.
Yeah. Although I just in a campus to Canton league with Mike Greinberg, I just traded him James Conner, and he gave me back Tyler Warren and Emeka Egbuka.
And then Connor gets injured immediately.
Got hurt.
But at least he got his 26 points. But
he still lost.
Dude.
He's still lost.
Oh, so even
he's
worse.
not going to the championship.
And you lost Emeka and Warren. No. Dude, so I went to the bar, not a bar, but it was a Notre Dame bar for the Notre Dame game the other day, a few days ago, and on the spot after a few beers, 2 of my friends that are in the league with me, they do a trade Connor for a first round pick in 2025. It's going to be the 110 or whatever. Anyway,
it's going to be.
I tell him on the spot. I guarantee you Connor is getting injured this season because he has not gotten injured this season. And every season he has gotten injured. And I said it almost jokingly, but I made sure I said that clearly that this is what was going to happen. He gets injured immediately. And he, it's brutal, but it happens.
That's awful. Yeah. And we had been saying, here's the thing about fantasy analysts. At some point we're going to be right, whether we're early or not, early or late. So we have been saying James Conner was going to get hurt from last season to week 16. It finally happened. I am surprised and really, frankly, impressed that he made it 15 weeks before he went down with an injury. Because I drafted Trey Benson everywhere, thinking that at some point James Conner was going to get hurt. And then he went out and he signed the extension. And I was like, oh, no. Then he gets hurt. So I offloaded him. I got good dynasty assets. Emeka Egbuka is he's a top 10 wide receiver.
It doesn't matter. That's a steal.
Right?
Straight up, 1 for 1, that would have been a steal. But then you get Tyler Warren on top.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be honest. I haven't watched a ton of Tyler Warren. I've seen some, but at this point, his name's blown up. But Emeka Egbuka, I've been on, and for Connor, I would have done that no matter when, no matter where, and give me that trade.
So Emeka Egbuka this year coming out is kind of he's in a similar situation to Jackson Smith and Jigba. So when JSN was in his junior year, that was when Marvin Harrison Jr. went through a bowl game and had 200 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns or something like that. JSN came out the next year in the draft. You have to admire what Brian Hartline has done with the recruiting and the development at Ohio State, and everybody that he's putting out has been phenomenal, to the point where you have guys like Jamison Williams, who was an Ohio State product that couldn't find his spot and transferred to Alabama. And then is Jamison Williams that everybody talks about. So what Ohio State does with wide receivers is incredible. And Emeka Egbuka, he's not the freshman upstart that they have now, but he's the equivalent of JSN to that other guy's wide receiver 1. career path. So I'll take a gamble on a guy who profiles just like Jackson Smith and Jigba. Give him 2 years, he's going to be a top 10 wide receiver. On top of that, you have the mercurial tight end position, and Tyler Warren is like, I like Aronde Gadsden Jr., who's already on my roster and he's being promoted. I also like Luke Lachey because he's George Kittle Jr. coming out of Iowa, and he's going to come out and surprise everybody. But then on top of that, I have the Sam Laporta, the guy that jumps everybody else in the tight end draft, and is like, hey, this is the guy, right? So basically what I did was I took James Conner, who was an expiring asset, even though the fact that he hasn't been injured yet just added to his value to the point where here you go, playoff guy, this expiring value. I'm going to sneak in and grab these 2 guys that in a couple of years are going to be absolutely elite.
That's why you got to love Dynasty, Campus to Canton, because just like the win nowness, it'll overcome people's worry about the future value, and it's like it's just a landslide. Like you're gonna end up winning that trade because regardless, James Conner's gonna at that 30-year-old range, and either way, I mean you're just in the spot where that's just. Like, look, he saw the contract extension from Connor. I think that's the one thing where people are like, okay, I'm fine going back in on it. Like at that point, it's like that's the one piece where if he didn't get the contract extension, people would be a little bit more hesitant. But once that happens, it's like that's what happened with me with Chuba Hubbard. Hubbard's much younger, but obviously they drafted a early round running back, so there's a different scenario there. But point is, once you see the team commit, then it's much easier to just, all right, now I'm going to go trade for that guy. I mentioned it on our show. I traded for Chuba Hubbard right before the trade deadline, and I gave it first. It was a single quarterback league, so I didn't care as much, and I was competing, and he gives me a 30 burger this week. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you're fine with that. And obviously circumstances changed. Brooks got injured after that. It's totally different. But point is, it's like a competing team. They're going to – if you see somebody get signed, and that's a rare thing. It was – Chuba Hubbard, James Conner, and Alvin Kamara this year, who signed midseason contracts as veterans who no one saw that coming at all because they had a replacement behind them.
That we've all been waiting for in Trey Benson.
And what does that mean about those guys? Like
and Jonathan Brooks and Kendry Miller. Right.
Hopefully Brooks, the Cardinals backup. Hopefully he can get it done.
You say, what does it mean? And Jalen Wright is another one that you can fold into that. Also Marshawn Lloyd. So all of those are kind of in the same position where we were like skeptical of the veterans in front of them. And what does it say about them? It doesn't say anything about their talent. What it says is what it speaks to is the environment of running back in the NFL. And the fact that you can find huge values, especially in your rookie drafts, when you're drafting these guys in the 3rd and 4th rounds, and they're not necessarily going to make an impact as a rookie because of the tandem backfields in the NFL. There are not a lot of backfields in the NFL where it's one guy who's going to get the majority of the points. So there just aren't. So you're going to spread it around. Well, when it's spread it around, it dilutes the points, which means that a guy like Roschon Johnson behind DeAndre Swift, Jonathan Brooks behind Chuba Hubbard, Jalen Brooks, Jonathan Brooks, Jalen Wright, all of these, Trey Benson, all of these guys, Audric Estime this year. All of these guys are going to ascend at some point to be the touch and point leaders on their teams in the next 2 to 3 years. And they're going to cycle through. Those teams are going to cycle through and draft running backs. Nobody's ever going to take over. That day in running back NFL is dead.
Wait, can I just ask, is there an exception to the rule? You had already mentioned this next running back draft class that's coming up. And this has basically been my question this whole time approaching this draft class. And I'll just say quickly, in my personal leagues, it's kind of unfortunately because I've had a lot of competing teams that I've been trading my future picks and I'm getting rid of the running backs. But I'm like, is this an exception to the rule where this next class just takes over? And what's up, Dev? This is the man.
Dev is in the house.
I just got back from Rachel's side's Christmas, so
we're getting to it. Well, here's the thing: the guys that are going to take over, like you're looking at, who in the last couple classes has actually done that, and the three names that come to me are Bijan Robinson, Breece Hall, and Devon Achane. Right? And all of those are all still in committees.
You're right. And if they can't overcome it, then we can't just expect Marion Hampton to do it. Like, even Genty, if Genty doesn't walk out as a unquestioned workhorse, everyone's going to be pissed.
Well, that's up to the Cowboys. What's up, Dev? Dev in the building. 100% awesome content creator and graphics designer for the Undroppables. We're here. What's going on in your fantasy leagues, buddy? And also, how drunk are you? And where the fuck is Dukes? How does Dukes not come in here tonight?
Dukes hasn't shown his face yet?
No! We're drinking.
Yeah, we've had a couple guests, but come on. Appreciate you jumping in here, Doug.
Yes.
Yeah, I was super pumped. We were down in the cities, down in Minneapolis. Rachel's family got together down there, so went and said hi and got kiddo to bed. And I was like, I wonder if this thing's still going on. Happy to see it.
I committed to being here for 3 hours. All right, even if it's been sparse. So Dukes, in our Discord, you have been posting your spots. What's coming up next? What do you have like on the burner that you're going to be promoting over the next week?
What do I have?
Yeah, I see your posts.
Just hopefully, I suppose, some Christmas Day DFS stuff. And see if there's some more uncovered stuff dropping this week.
All right, I want to win some money on Christmas Day. So who do you got for DFS?
What is the Christmas Day? I haven't even looked.
Yeah, let's pull it up.
Hey, Dev, go to your own Discord.
Chiefs.
You got the Monday Night Showdown. So you had Jacobs. You had
is that game over?
It's almost. It's 4 minutes left.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Okay.
Here's the thing. Here's my dilemma. Okay. I have one of many best ball teams finally make it through, potentially to the fourth round. And oh man, should I look? It's already.
Don't look.
Josh Jacobs and Jaden Reed. I don't know if I want to look.
Don't look.
I'm so nervous.
Okay, so let's talk about Josh Jacobs. What is that?
Hey, Jaden Reed with the catch right there.
You're ahead, dude. What is at stake for Josh Jacobs this week?
I pretty much need him to score less than 18 points.
He needs to score less than 18 points.
Well, he's basically been benched at this point. They're not even using him anymore.
That's what I was hoping for.
They're on Emmanuel Wilson and Brooks.
Oh, man.
Jordan Love's not even in the game anymore. They're at the goal line, though. Maybe they put Jacobs.
They don't even have Jordan. Jordan Love isn't even in the game. That's
Jacobs.
That's Malik Willis.
Yeah, they got all the backups in except for the receivers are still in.
They're
so Emmanuel Wilson's at running back. Emmanuel Wilson's at running back now at the goal line.
I'm gonna look. I gotta look.
Okay. Hey, that's content, bro. All of you guys who want to see a live reaction, what is happening with Dev? Look at Josh Jacobs.
Sweating. Dev's sweating.
Oh no!
Oh, damn.
Jacobs had a 20 burger, man. I think he needed less than 18.
20.7.
Yep.
Oh no!
Damn. Put him back out there and fumble.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's get a Josh Jacobs fumble right now.
Yeah, if I won, I would have got $500, and then the fourth round.
So you had Jordan? Did you have Jaden Reed?
No, they had Jaden Reed.
They had Jaden Reed. Yeah.
But
For some reason, they left the receivers out there.
I had like Burrow and Chase and Spears and Hubbard and Bowers and Adams, and I had a really good team. What a bummer.
Yeah. So I'm
Hubbard was
here.
your leader this week.
I'm here, Dev. I've got your salve. I'm gonna make you feel better. I'm gonna give you my bad beat of the week.
Sure.
This is my bad beat of the week.
Manuel Wilson touchdown.
So on Thursday night, we do the Thursday night tailgate. It's the player profiler like pregame. Then we do the points after Thursday. It's the Fantasy Football Advice Network after show. During all that, I went ahead and I started doing props. And one of my things was Terry McLaurin was going to have a bad game, but Jaden Daniels was going to have a huge game rushing the football. So I went in and on Thursday night I did all of my props for Sunday, and I accidentally hit the button on underdog before I did the flex. So I did the straight up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then I went back and I did another $5 or $10 or whatever, and I did all of those things, but in like the same plays, but in the flex. So here's what I had. I had Justin Tucker over 1.5 field goals. I had Najee Harris under a touchdown. I had A.J. Brown plus a touchdown. I had Saquon Barkley over 100 rushing yards. I had Jahmyr Gibbs over 123 total. I had Jaden Daniels over 41.5 rushing yards. I had Terry McLaurin under 63.5, and I had Chris Boswell under 1.5 field goals or over 1.5 field goals made. 2 plays. On the one that was straight up, I lost because of Chris Boswell. He had 1 field goal to 1.5.
Brutal.
On the 8, I won $34. But if he had hit 1 more field goal, I would have won both, and that would have been $1,600.
Oh.
That is a bad beat. That's brutal.
I'm taking my $35 for my $15 play, and I'm running away with it. $1,600.
And Boswell has been pretty good kicker this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Like their
on
best
1
player.
field goal. The Steelers couldn't get him into field goal range 1 more time.
They need Pickens back, man. Brutal.
They need Pickens back so bad.
And they got him this week.
They do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
Brutal,
we're getting
man.
down to it, you guys.
Yeah, last 2 minutes, 2-minute stretch here. This has been an awful game. 34-0. Packers are just blowing
Over
these guys
under.
out.
Saints touchdowns.
0.
0.5.
Yeah,
Right
under.
Under? Okay. Are they going to score?
No garbage time. No garbage time.
Dev, are they going to score? We got Jordan Mims in the game. Where's Kendra Miller? Spencer Rattler.
Guys, they're showing highlights of the freezer that Spencer Rattler is practicing in. You know what I mean? Like that. They have nothing to stand on. Like they literally showed a video of the freezer they were in. I was like, well, it doesn't matter. They're already losing by 25 points. Like, who cares?
Was he literally in a freezer?
Oh, you didn't hear about that? Yeah,
I heard about
to
that,
simulate the cold of Lambeau Field. They had Spencer Rattler, going through the whole game script for like 90 minutes in the freezer, in the cafeteria freezer in New Orleans.
Oh my God.
In the training facility. He was just in the freezer. That's how they got ready for the game. Instead of going to the stadium early to prepare in the conditions, we'll just go in the freezer.
Just
That'll
throw your
do
ass
it.
in a freezer.
And the quote from Smith Rattler was, "We're feeling good after that session." So
my favorite take is the fact that Spencer Rattler had a career in front of him in the NFL in the first place.
oh God. Yeah, not too many people I know are super high on it, but he got a shot, and you had your chance to flip.
Yeah, but there are so many better guys that got a shot, and
Brutal.
so many better guys that haven't gotten a shot yet, like Carter Bradley from the University of South Alabama, son of Gus Bradley from the defensive coordinator of the Indianapolis Colts.
I'll just say I wouldn't be watching this game if it wasn't for the stream that we're on right now.
Same. I committed to 3 hours. I'd be hanging out with my girlfriend right now. She got me this pickle slut hat. Like, come on.
It's a good hat.
Like,
I do like that. I dig the hat. I think both you guys both got really good hats. I like that.
You know what?
I like the
Because of
black
that,
LA
Dev,
too.
That's right.
Shit. I was gonna mix another cocktail, but I forgot that.
Hey, we need like a closing shot, but
I ran out of.
Packers might have hit the over on their own. To be honest,
I ran out of my stuff. I drank all the gin. So you missed it, but I made a habanero smoked pickle martini.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
And when I was doing that, my girlfriend ran up here and gave me this hat for Christmas, and I appreciate her. What am I going to do? I'm going to do some rum. So this is Smith & Cross Jamaican rum.
Mm.
Let's
do
do
a little closing mix up here.
I don't even know how much. That's like 4 ounces or something. I don't even know. We're going to do a Manhattan, but with rum instead of bourbon. We got the bitters in there, the rum in there.
Yeah.
We need the vermouth in there. So I'm not a fan of vermouth, but we'll just do an ounce, even though it's all right, there you go. And
I'm going with maple and bourbon, keeping it simple.
There you go.
I'm at the oranges are out of reach. So
and we all know that Vermont maple syrup is better than Canadian maple syrup, right, Dev?
Mm-hmm. Can confirm.
That's a controversial take, or in Canada you say it's controversy. Shout out T Seal and Mike Greinberg.
Yeah, Trav was on here earlier. Don't worry, he represented for the Leaves.
All right, shaking it up and everything. He's
He's not messing around, man. He's been mixing it up all night.
Big.
He's had some variety too.
I don't fuck around. Dev, you're coming to the expo next year, right?
I sure hope so.
I hope so too, because it was a wild, fun time. We did draft the Dukes Classic 4 a.m. We were all hammered after bar hopping and everything. Drafted a 2 quarterback, 1 super flex league, and it was 2 quarterback, 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, 1 tight end, all flex and a super flex. And I just took out chalk this week. Boom! I see Jax next week in the championship.
All right,
Let's
good
go.
luck, man.
Taking out chalk. That's a
cheers.
good feeling.
Congrats, man.
Merry Christmas, you guys.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Cheers. Is that the one where you got Jaden Daniels with the first pick? Yeah.
So because it was 3 quarterbacks, obviously, like you're thinking quarterback is priority. And I had the 6th pick. And at 106, I took Jaden Daniels. And they made fun of me.
Dude,
Fools.
when you said that earlier, I wanted to say that, I'm new in the fantasy space, right? This is my first year, right? I was so convicted on Jaden Daniels, but I really wasn't like saying it enough. Like I was telling people my draft plan, it was similar to the Lamar Jackson rookie year. You get your Dak Prescott in round 8, and then you get your Lamar round 9. So this year it was get Stafford round 8 and get Jaden Daniels round 9, and that worked. I crushed doing that, but like I just should have been pumping it even harder because we all know rushing is what matters. But it's like for some reason people just didn't believe it. I was grinding. I asked people that same question over and over, like, where are you taking Jaden Daniels? And people were low on him. I didn't understand why. And he was a fantasy analyst. I'm asking. So
well, imagine
good
if I had taken. Imagine if I had taken Bo Nix with my second pick.
Yeah, I was too low. I was way too low on Nix.
So here's how the draft goes. And again, this is 4 a.m. Everybody's hammered. Chalk and Tommy run to Taco Bell.
Smart.
AR goes first to Kuvatakis. Then Greinberg takes Mahomes, Chiefs. Marcus takes Josh Allen. That's fine. I'm sorry I didn't have the 106. I had the 104. That's when I took Jaden Daniels. That's why I got made fun of.
The nuts.
Then Jax takes Hurts. Then Dukes takes Christian McCaffrey. Tommy with Tua and Chalk with Lamar Jackson. So Tommy with Chalk with Lamar Jackson, that's formidable. Then he takes Joe Burrow. Those two guys like 1-2. That's fantastic this year.
Yeah.
Then Tommy goes Justin Jefferson. Dukes goes Jared Goff. That's why he's been on a heater lately. Jax takes CeeDee Lamb. My next pick, CJ Stroud. They should not have made fun of me for Jaden Daniels at 104. They should have made fun of me for CJ Stroud with my next pick. I went my top 4 picks: Jaden Daniels, CJ Stroud, Trevor Lawrence, Kyler Murray, then 105, Travis Kelce. So I understood the need for quarterback. And so my top 4 quarterbacks, while everybody's picking wide receivers and shit like that, I kept taking quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence was supposed to have had a better year. Let's just put it that way. Right. Kyler Murray is fine. And then Travis Kelce, like tight end 1. He's still top 5. Whatever. He's one of the guys that I've had on that team for the whole year. I should have taken Brock Bowers, but who's taking Brock Bowers at the 105 or in the 5th round in redraft? So anyway,
maybe the guy who's taking Jaden Daniels at 104
who has the Raiders channel
would take Brock Bowers.
Maybe
in the 4th round.
No, Biggs. This offseason, you and I, we're gonna come up with the plan to make the perfect draft, and we're gonna pull it off.
Yes, and and that's the thing about this channel right here, the Undroppables. The Undroppables is so here's a shout out to Chalk. Chalk is the founder, and the dude is he's one of the sharpest minds in the industry. If you go to the Undroppables channel, and if you play Dynasty Fantasy Football, dude has literally written
the book.
The art of Dynasty Fantasy Football. Now, I was in a startup draft with him, and exactly what he said in his Art of Dynasty, he did. And everybody in the league except me bought into everything he was doing. I read the fucking book. I would not capitulate to what he was saying. So I'm bottom 12 this year, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, Chalk is the dude, and he just kind of sits in the background, and he's like, I trust my guys. You guys go out there and you make content, and we've got the uncovered content, and we've got the Chef's Corner content coming at you. We've got a new Dynasty show coming at you. We've got all of these sharps in the business that are bringing you content at all times, and the Undroppables is where you can find them. Keep subscribed, keep hitting the bell, keep all of that, and you are going to win your fantasy leagues, because we are all here with you, and we're doing the work so you don't have to.
Boom.
That's it. And we will see you. I will see you on I'll see you tomorrow morning on Player Profiler News with DFK at 10 a.m.
We'll be there.
I will see you tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Pacific time, of course, on Raiders Uncovered. And then throughout the week. And then when I go to the Senior Bowl, the East-West Shrine game, and the Super Bowl, I will bring you food and drink content, as well as player interviews and shit like that. Dev, where's everybody seeing your content?
Yeah, on Twitter at DevinB44. And then, throughout the awesome Undroppable spaces, you'll see some stuff. So, yeah, it's going to be the New Year's right around the corner. And, like, just the future, everything we have going on it's so exciting. It's just so awesome. So, I'm pumped. This next year is going to be great.
Love it. Dev, Cowboys Uncovered, Dynasty Stock Market with me on Tuesday mornings. Let's go.
Let's get it, man.
Where else?
Yeah. Find me Dynasty Football Key, YouTube, Dynasty F Key on Twitter. And we'll be here tomorrow. On Player Profiler News, me and Biggs, like you mentioned, gonna go over some Dynasty risers, followers, trades, stuff going on, stuff to do pre-off season, post off season, and maybe talking some prospects. Who knows? We'll see. After the season, we'll get into some mock drafts. We'll wait a little bit there, even though I can't wait.
We'll figure it out in the morning.
Yeah.
I don't have a plan for now.
But man, I can't wait to see what you're eating in New Orleans, though. That's my spot. That's like my favorite vacation spot. So
Daisy Duke's fried green tomatoes. I got family in the North Country and in Cajun Country. Eunice Crowley. We're gonna bring some gumbo, some jambalaya, all that stuff. But Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you for watching. If you did, and we love you. We hope you win, unless your name is Jax Falcone. Bye. I mean, I hope that Jax Falcone wins all his leagues except for the Dukes Classic.